The story begins with a baffling situation where a guy tried to strangle a girl and asked her why she always looks at him like that, but he abruptly released his hands from her throat and thought, "What's happening to him?" But the girl didn't think twice and slapped him across the face. The guy hit a tree and got some abrasions. He got up and asked if he was dreaming. The boy asked, but why was it so real? But he grabbed his head, for it ached sharply. He began to see incomprehensible memories for him and thought. The girl approached her younger brother and said that he had already lost, so why did he keep resisting and even pinned him to the ground? The boy replied that he didn't know. But suddenly the younger sister turned to brother, and told him to give up. And the older sister isn't the least bit interested in him. He's already lost twice, but he's still acting like an idiot. Is he really that embarrassed to take no for an answer? When did he ever say he liked her in the first place? Junior got angry and started yelling at him that he was shameless. The older one let it go and turned to her younger sister, saying that there was nothing more for them to do here. It was time to go home. The elder sister immediately used magic and rolled through the forest like ice. He grabbed his head after that and thought, "What's even going on here?" And something about all this didn't seem like a dream. All his senses were working, and he even felt the cold from the blade at his neck. But everything changed after he got really sick and started spitting out blood. His eyes blurred, and he saw the name Ning Yuan in front of him. He immediately realized that he had moved into the Immortal Swordsman Legend game, and the main disciple of Lu Shui Peak in the game is called Ning Yuan. He started walking around in different directions and remembered that in the story, this was the scene where NPC he challenges Ning Yuan and suffers a crushing defeat. And since he kept harassing her, it eventually forced Ning Yuan to seek help from her older brother Qin Sheng. And after finding out that he was a member of the Demon Clan, he was killed by Ning during the great competition of the Heaven Realm 6 months later. He suddenly wondered and asked himself why he had been transported into the body of such an unlucky NPC in the first place. Logically, he should have been the main character Li Xiaoyao. But the worst part is that he constantly skipped the dialogues of the NPCs during the game. He said that he only vaguely remembers the general plot. Luckily, he's almost through the game and still knows about the main events. And if you think about it that way, he could be compared to a god. But suddenly, a girl came up and addressed him. Her name was Liao Xin, and she was an external disciple of Lu Shui. Xin told her little brother that she was looking for him everywhere. He turned around and looked at her in surprise. She was Qin Shun 6. She pretends to be his friend, but she really loves Qin Shun. And that night, when he was finally rejected by Ning and fell into unconsciousness, Liao Xin sucked out his entire essence under the guise that she wanted to comfort him, and then gave it to Qin Sheng, causing him to be able to break through 2 stages at once. Xin turned to her younger brother and asked for his help. Xin didn't hesitate and went to him for a hug, but he stepped aside and she fell to the ground. Xin asked him why he didn't catch her, but how painful it was for her to kiss the ground now. And how could he not be ashamed of such a prank? He told Sister Xin that a man and a woman shouldn't touch each other. He just didn't want to besmirch her reputation, and he thinks she should get up and have some healing wine at her house. And he has things to do, so he bows out first. Xin yelled to her younger brother that she couldn't get up. He was thinking at this time that he needed to go back to the dormitory as soon as possible and gather his thoughts. Xin was very upset and thought, how would she explain to Qin Sheng that she came back empty-handed? She stood up and said that it wouldn't work like that. He arrived at the courtyard and said that he was currently an outer disciple of Lu Shui Peak, so he didn't have a token. He can't leave the barrier of the heavenly realm. He must complete the mandatory tasks to get the token. And if he couldn't leave the heavenly realm, he would most likely die by Ning's sword in half a year. He lay down on the sofa and said that right now, she was already at the 3rd stage of wind condensation while he was only at the chi refining stage. He said that by then, Ning would have reached the peak of the golden core stage, and this pathetic NPCS would never break through. And he needs to leave the heavenly realm before the great competition. And since he has entered this world, he should enjoy it to the fullest. But Xin suddenly appeared outside the door and addressed him again. He was angry and saw that she was very annoying. Xin told her younger brother that Ning Yuan never liked him, but she's just as attractive as she is. So why doesn't he pay attention to her? He completely faded out after saying that and didn't even pay attention to her because he wasn't interested in her. Xin began to seduce him and tell him to let her heal his wounded heart. Xin told the younger brother that she liked him very much. The guy blushed a lot and thought, and why he suddenly wanted to be as close to her as possible. Xin told him to watch her body want him too. He actually realized that it wasn't like that. Xin pounced on him with her whole body, telling him how much she loved him. He felt very bad and didn't know what to do. But Xin asked him, and she had already realized that her younger brother had fallen into her hands. Xin was saying in his ear that he would soon experience heavenly pleasure. But he didn't let that happen, and picking up the moment, he immediately punched her with his fist. Xin didn't expect this turn of events and crashed through the door at a very high speed. He looked at his hand after the strike and felt a continuous movement towards his fingertips. Is this cultivation, he thought? But it was clear to him now. The original body master was a demonic wolf. Even though he had only recently taken human form, his first Starfire stage was equivalent to the foundation formation stage of human cultivators. Xin was hurt and asked brother is he crazy? But in her head, she thought he was a pathetic brat. And this was because he was unable to break through even in 2 years of cultivation. How could he even be able to harm her if she had already reached the peak of foundation formation? Hay started yelling at her that he had told her back outside that he didn't want to sully her reputation by touching him. And besides, it's his room. He even closed the door, but she entered even without his permission. Xin replied that she had been in love with him for a long time, and he knew it himself. He asked in surprise, is she saying in love? Then why did she cast a charm spell on him? Xin was surprised and thought hard. How was this guy even able to dispel the spell? A scum at the chi purification stage. He didn't let her act like that and grabbed her and threw her out the door. And at the end, he gave her a kick in the ass. He immediately realized her desire, that she wanted to suck out his essence to help her love her. And did she really think he was as much of an idiot as the original owner of the body was? Even though he couldn't remember the backstory of this NPCs, it said something about the blood essence of his demon wolf clan, and that it greatly accelerates cultivation. However, he was lazy from the beginning and didn't want to practice refinement. He suddenly smiled because of the fact that he had gotten rid of the sin back at the start, and he really is a genius. Hay went outside and looked around and said that there didn't seem to be anyone. But even though there is a barrier here, this is the world from the game. Maybe it's changed too. Of course, if he could escape right now, he wouldn't hesitate to do so. But suddenly, an invisible barrier appeared in front of him. He was very sad and realized that he could not leave the heavenly realm for nothing. Suddenly, a girl suddenly stepped in front of him. She was very surprised to see Hay. The guy didn't expect to see her either. Zheng Qingqing, external disciple of Lu Shui Peak, chief editor of the Heaven Realm Chronicles. Qing asked the guy, did he want to leave the mountain? He replied that no, he was just taking a walk. He was a little tired, so he decided to take a break. He asked Sister Qing, had she just returned from a mission? The girl replied that she had received a report from the Chronicles that his younger brother had challenged Lu Shui Peak's head disciple Ning Lu Shui Peak. Of course, this is big news, she said, so she just had to come back and write about it. The new Chronicle issue is sure to sell out. He asked, did this really come to light in just half a day? Qing replied that she had received a solo mission. However, she heard about this event on the way to the site, and she immediately thought she still had plenty of time to complete the assignment. So she went back to write the article. She had never imagined that she would stumble upon him. He would just have to tell her the details. Hay said he hit his head then. It's all just a misunderstanding. Qing asked her younger brother. He's not really in love with Ning, and in fact, everyone around him says that he's just jealous of big brother Qing. That's why he's hitting on Sister Ning. She treats him solely as a cult brother. He asked, how could he even like Sister Ning? Although they are all studying in the Heaven Realm sect, but there is still a boundary between them and Yin Peak. He said that he hardly ever saw Sister Ning. Qing thought that because the last time he challenged her, he said that he would defeat her in the great competition of the Heavenly Realm and make her his wife. She was there and heard it all herself. Sister Ning is at the 1 condensation stage and will definitely reach the Golden Core in half a year. She really is the eldest sister. She had received a title from the sect master, so she couldn't be called Big Sister now. She should now be addressed as Lady Yuehua. Hay said he got drunk that day and was talking nonsense. He's just a secondary NPCs, but he dared to defy a story character and marry her. But how much stale wine did he have to drink to do that? Qing told her younger brother to tell her. There was something between him and Miss Yuehua, and for this information, she will give him 3 low-grade spirit stones, and on that they can agree. He remembered and told Sister Qing that he had left the healing soup simmering in his room. And most likely, it was almost ready, so he should go now. He started to run away immediately and not let her say a word. But Qing ran after him and asked him to stop. Ching said that they are neighbors after all. Wouldn't it be better if they went together? He started laughing and replied that he really hit his head hard, and they can go together. But what he was really thinking about was why couldn't he just not skip the dialogue? Ching said that she actually thought that he had very pure energy. If he keeps practicing hard, then in 3 years, he will have a chance to fight Lady Yuehua. There's no need to rush and do everything this year. But he actually didn't even know if he could survive the next 6 months. Ching suddenly spoke. That dream lotus that is now in Miss Yuehua's possession, that was handed over by the sect master himself. If he could obtain one extremely rare blade, the Sun Dragon Flame Sword, it would greatly accelerate his development. However, she doesn't know where he is now. He listened to her and replied that he was grateful for the advice. But he really had no feelings for Sister Ning. She was a bird of a completely different flight of fancy. Ching told him that he might as well not pretend. Madame Ning was on the rumor right now, and he had already met her so many times, and she hopes that soon their relationship will go to the next level. He didn't like it and asked his big sister to stop teasing. Ching remembered and told the guy that he had just tried to go down the mountain after all. Wasn't he tired at all? He replied that he knew he couldn't keep it from Sister Ching. She replied that if she understood things correctly, he had not yet completed any missions, and if he could complete at least 4 tasks, he might be allowed to go down the mountain. He told her that he was just thinking of going to the resource pavilion tomorrow about it. But suddenly he froze in place and asked Ching, why is she looking at him like that? Is something wrong? Ching said that brother, he was a little different from what he used to be. Before, he used to make up various excuses when she persuaded him to take an assignment. And he's kind of hyperactive today. Maybe it's all about the power of love? Hay was getting worried and thought that she had realized that he wasn't the right NPS. And if he's exposed, who knows what awaits him? Maybe he'll be struck by lightning. He heard her words and replied to her that after 2 years of Heaven Realm, he realized that the older he got, the less time he had to waste. Ching suddenly said that here they are, and she was glad that he felt that way. And of course, if he remembered any old grudges, or if his feelings for Miss Yuehua flared up again, then let him remember to tell her first. Ching had already entered the room, and was still shouting that given her abilities with this material, she would definitely be able to write the hottest issue of the Chronicles. He stood outside and said he had a bad feeling about it. But so be it. And it was already dark, so he would make a plan of action tomorrow. Upon entering his room, he didn't even realize how he had turned into a wolf. He started screaming that he had forgotten that the original owner of this body was a demonic wolf. And in the early stages, he could take on his animal form again when night fell. But why was it happening to him now? He tried to shout something, he realized he couldn't speak properly. And why was he so unlucky? But he knew that the Heaven Realm was the territory of cultivators, and most of them hated demons to the core. And if anyone found out he was a demon wolf, he would definitely be skinned and eaten. He walked out in front of the house and grabbed his clothes so no one would see it. But he hasn't eaten anything since he moved here, and he's very hungry. Someone was behind him and asked with surprise, "Spirit Beast?" He immediately heard a voice very familiar to him, and it turned out to be Ning Yuan. Ning asked him, was he the spirit beast of one of the junior disciples? He turned around to her and let go of the clothes from his mouth. Ning began to caress him and said that even without a binding spell, did he really not have a master? She took him in her arms and said that this is a dormitory for students. So if he doesn't have an owner, he can't come in here. He realized at once that he had screwed up big time. But Ning was attentive, and looking at the clothes on the floor, she asked, whose room is this? And how can you even leave your clothes right by the entrance? Ning asked him if he was hungry, and if so, let him go with her and she would give him something to eat. But he was getting very excited at this time, and he really liked her scent, and how eager he is to take a bite of it. And it must be that it is very delicious. He rearranged himself and began to deny it. He realized that Ning had a jade spirit physique, which naturally attracted demons. And if he could drink some of her essence, it would greatly enhance his cultivation. But suddenly, he started to deny and told himself that it couldn't be like that. Ning saw him flapping his head and asked, is something wrong? And even called him a puppy. He was surprised very much after saying that and wondered, was it really the same person? Ning slowly approached him with her lips to kiss him and told him not to be afraid, for his little sister would protect him. Ning told the pup that the master had instructed her to deliver something to her uncle at Lushui Peak, and she happened to meet him. And like her, he's very cute, and asked him to let her wipe her little paws. He was very surprised to hear about the paws, but Ning slowly took his paws and began to wipe them. Ning told him that he was all dirty, She couldn't even remember ever seeing a spirit beast in the heavenly realm. And had he really wandered into this place by accident? Hey, wonder what's going on here? Why is Ning acting differently than she did in the game? And why is she treating him like this in the first place? Ning started to suddenly say that today, junior brother, he had challenged her again. And as expected, he lost. But he's so weird. Everyone thinks he likes her, but she doesn't think so. Hey thought, why is she suddenly talking about him? Ning said that she actually hates brother Hey. Simple as that, but suddenly she switched and told the puppy that he's still little and won't understand anything anyway. Ning lifted him up in her arms to wipe him everywhere. But he suddenly became shy and realized that he was naked. Ning noticed this and said that she didn't expect him to be so shy. He's so innocent too, and today she's letting him get in with her. Hey was surprised every time because he would be sleeping next to Ning, and he also realized that she really likes small beasts. Does she often catch spirit beasts to sleep with her? Would he really have to sleep next to her? No spirit beast would refuse something like this and leave Ning. He could prolong his life just by smelling her jade spirit body a few times. And if he suddenly escaped, wouldn't that be too suspicious, he thought. Ning started to change clothes in front of him, and Hey begged and pleaded for her to keep her underwear on. But then he saw her sleeping in her underwear. And for him, this is real torture. Ning hugged the little girl and went to bed with him. He started to twist around, and he felt very tight in her embrace. And after she undressed, the smell of her jade body odor became even stronger. He couldn't contain himself anymore, but at this point he's just a little dog that he can't speak or do anything else. He's just trapped. Hey stares at her intently and saw that she had fallen asleep and tried to slowly slip away. But suddenly Ning sensed it and told him to stop fidgeting and went on to further sleep. Hey got down from the bed and felt his paws go numb, and thinking he could climb out the window, then he wouldn't have to make a noise opening the door. He looked out the window and saw that it was open. He went out and was happy to say that Madam Ning wasn't so scary anymore. The next day, a lot of people gathered in the resource pavilion, and seeing they began to ask if this was the same disciple from Luxue Peak who had challenged Miss Yuehua yesterday. But someone said that he had heard that this guy was jealous of her older brother Qingyu, and was afraid that she would run away with him. And senior brother Qin is the chief disciple of Luxue Peak after all. How can he even compare to him? This possessed man keeps bothering Miss Yuehua and causing her trouble. And he thinks he's sick with something. He heard it all the time and was angry because they kept whispering. He left them and walked over to the elder and said that he had come to take a low-level mission. The elder told the boy that all the missions for this month had already been assigned. Unfortunately, he was too late. He said with surprised eyes that he really needed. The elder suddenly thought about it and opened his spare assignment that always lies in the closet. The elder pulled it out and said he had one more mission left. The reward for it is only 2 points, so not many people want to take it. And many students refuse to take this assignment. What does he say to that suggestion? And if he takes it, don't forget to register. And the mission will begin the moment he leaves the mountain. If he doesn't complete it in a week, he can't take another mission for 2 months, and asked the elder if he could help him with the registration. He went home after the agreement over the mission and opened the bag to find only 12 low-grade spirit stones. And it turns out the original owner was a real poor man. But one thing he didn't understand was that the previous master had a weak cultivation and almost no money at all. But why did he even come to the heaven realm in the first place? But he seems to recall that he comes from a pretty good family, a famous clan of demon wolves. But then why is he so poor? Unexpectedly, Qing crept up and turned to her younger brother. He didn't expect it and was frightened. Qing said that she heard that he had already taken the mission. He replied to his older sister that yes, he had registered not too long ago, and the elder gave him a one-time permission to leave the mountain. Qing said that she had also heard that Miss Yuehua had also just been given the task to leave the mountain, and as she knows, the targets of their missions are very close by. Let her say now, did her brother do it on purpose? He replied that it was just that no one wanted to take this mission, and the elder had agreed to give it to him. It was just a coincidence. Qing was surprised and asked her brother, is it because he has so little money? He replied that yes, it was all he had left. Qing told her brother that if he completed this mission, he could exchange the 2 points he earned for 10 medium spiritual stones. He was surprised and asked in amazement, 10 medium spiritual stones? That's equivalent to 300 liang of silver. Qing said that depending on the region, even more might come out. Since she had provided him with such valuable information, now he just had to tell her about his romantic adventures with Madam Ning when he returned. And if they ever became cultivation partners, she would become famous throughout the entire heavenly realm. And Mrs. Ning is the perfect candidate for dual cultivation. She turned around and said that they would see each other again and left. But he was suddenly saddened because he thought that dual cultivation with Ning was very difficult, and he would sooner die still. He said that 12 low-grade spiritual stones, the middle of the star flame stage. Also knowledge of the plot, that's all. There's no need to even think about escaping the heavenly realm. He'll starve to death in a week, and now he needs to get the money as soon as possible and break through to the next stages. Otherwise, when it's time to run away, he'll be caught off guard and something will definitely go wrong. He said that he was just playing at home. After all, when he was transported to this world out of the blue, into the body of this unlucky NPCs who doesn't have any special abilities, and it looks like it's some kind of joke. However, if you think about it that way, it's not the worst start yet. You just have to accept your destiny and climb to the top of this world with all your might. Hay looked around and said that he had been walking for 2 hours and thought it was worth refilling the water in this pond. But at that time, there was a girl in the pond taking a bath. He didn't even notice her because she was sitting behind a rock. He was happy and ran to the water, saying that it was so clean. But the girl was frightened when she heard his voice and climbed into the water. She asked at once. He looked over and asked in surprise, "Senior Sister Accent?" But if he had only known that this would happen, he would have just run straight down the mountain. Now this pond is basically a bathing pond. Xin asked her brother if he was really looking for her. He replied that he was just passing by and decided to quench his thirst. If he had known she was bathing here, he would have made a detour. Xin said, "What a coincidence that it's just the two of them here alone." Now he can feel free to not be shy. Xin thought about it and thought that it was obvious that he had come to her. It would be a shame if he never was able to give his life essence to Big Brother Qingyu. He turned around and said that he needed to go down the mountain as soon as possible to complete the mission, and dare not distract Sister Xin anymore, and have a pleasant treatment for her, and told brother he not to leave. He used to be much kinder to her. If she made him angry, is she asking him to tell her what she did wrong? He asked her older sister, is she really a pervert? Xin fell to her knees and with an angry face replied, "Pervert." Xin told brother he that she really has feelings for him. So why is he treating her like this? He turned around and replied to Big Sister Xin that she better pay more attention to Big Brother Qingyu. Has this weakling realized something? He had been avoiding her on purpose lately. He'd always liked her flirtations. But the stranger was sitting in the tree watching. The stranger came down from the tree and said this he is really strange. Although he says that he admires him, but he heard that he has a rather close relationship with this Xin. And just now, she tried to get close to him, but he turned her down and even called her a pervert. She can't figure out what's going on in Hei's head. Ning told Li's younger brother that he should mind his own business. The boy replied that he just apologized to his older sister. He had let himself go too much. Li said that demonic forces have been reactivated lately. This time, her assignment is related to them. So, he asked her to be careful. Ning tells her younger brother that his mission is no easier. And on the other side of the portal, their paths diverge. She needs to go north to Zhuiyao County. Li replied to his elder sister that he believed she would return with victory. He at this time went to the barrier with the key, and swiping his hand, he was surprised and said that it really worked. But he felt sorry that this one-time pass had a return function. And if he exceeded the mission time, he would be forcibly teleported back to the heavenly realm. But otherwise, he would have already thought of ways to escape. He immediately ran to the nearest city he wanted. Arriving at the place he said was even closer than he thought, only half a day's journey. He arrived at Zhuiyao County, located 10 kilometers north of the Celestial Realm. And this is a prosperous area located between the mountains and rivers. He realized that although he had already seen the items sold here in the game, it felt completely different in real life. And then all these things were just static images, and most sellers couldn't even engage in dialogue. Listening to their conversations and laughter is a previously unimaginable experience. Hay said that the last body master didn't even have a proper weapon. He feels uncomfortable going on this mission without a sword. Hay pulled out his bag of coins and decided it was time for him to shop. As he entered the pavilion, the saleswoman asked him if he was interested in a particular type of weapon. They have absolutely everything, and secret weapons that can be hidden even in his sleeve, and huge axes with which he can easily crush his enemies. He said he needed a regular sword, so maybe she could help him find the right one. But suddenly one of the swords that stood in the shelf was swept to his eye. He took it in his hand and asked how much it was worth. The seller said he has a keen eye. This sword cuts through steel like butter. It's perfect for self-defense and will only cost him 10 liang silver. He said that he didn't have any silver with him. Could he pay with low-grade spirit stones? The seller told him not to worry. There was a wonderful pawn shop nearby. There you can easily exchange the stones for silver, and if translated into spirit stones, 3 would be quite enough. He took out the stones and gave, but he thought it was expensive. The seller grabbed them from his hand and thanked him for buying them. After all, she herself realized that it was expensive and the buyer might change his mind. Suddenly, he said that he was actually a Heaven Realm disciple from Lushui Peak, and he would like to ask her some questions about the flower house. He started the conversation and asked about what he wanted to know. The vendor replied that about an immortal cultivator. She really knew something about this place. She said the flower house is the largest brothel in this county. Recently, many emaciated and dying men were found there. The authorities, of course, questioned the girls working there, and even the Flying Dragon squad checked every corner. They all turned out to be human. But if that's really the case, how could they have exhausted all those men like that? There's definitely something fishy going on. He immediately thanked her for the information and said he would go there right away and check it out personally. The vendor told him that since he was a cultivator from the heavenly realm, she believed that he would bring them out. He arrived at the place and said that it was pretty empty. It was a flower house where everyone came to watch the dance. He said that he felt like the desiccated corpses had greatly affected the flow of customers. Otherwise, the place would be quite crowded. Suddenly, a woman came down the stairs and said that at this rate, she would have to close in less than 3 months. But why her establishment had already suffered so many customers? But when she opened her eyes, she saw that a customer had come in. The woman asked the gentleman if he would like a drink, or perhaps to satisfy his hunger from the road. Can you also think of a girl for her? He put up a hand and stopped her, realizing she was desperate for new customers. He said that he was a Heaven Realm disciple from Lushui Peak, and he had come to eradicate evil and restore justice. He thought he felt like a real hero after saying that. The woman started crying and saying that she was unhappy, and the immortal master has no idea what she's been through. She had been praying for days and nights for a hero to come and finally save her. He asked Madam to calm down. Everything will be fine, and let her tell him everything first. The girl said that 2 months ago, one of the visitors was found dead in their girl's bed, much to the dismay of the other female employees. At first, they thought he just had too much alcohol or something, but since then, every 3 days another customer has died, and every single one of them had carvings almost. That's really scary. He suddenly thought that this was some local equivalent of a chainsaw massacre. Mistress said that she constantly reported everything to the authorities. And as the Lord knows, Immortal Master, the flower house operates in the gray area between the authorities and the flying dragons. And after a few days of observation, they realized that all these murders were connected to the flower house itself. So they left it up to her to solve the problem, causing her to lose a whole bunch of silver. And she had no choice but to send a plea for help to the heavenly realm. And why was it all falling on her? He thought and realized that this world had not yet discovered surgical organ transplants. So the way that took all those kidneys was most likely a cultivator or a demon. But why the kidneys, he thought? Wouldn't it be more logical to take the heart? Could it be that this demon was short of them, and that's why he decided to replenish the supply? Or was he just trying to get his hands on this place? But if it's a normal demon that takes almost, he doesn't have much strength. If it's not above the stage of base formation, it should be able to handle it. He asked Mistress, when was the last murder? Madam replied that it was the day before yesterday. So another person will die in their establishment tomorrow. Mistress started crying again and saying how miserable she was, and the immortal master must help her. Let him save the flower house. He said he would do his best. But another girl came down and asked the lady if she had not asked her to buy her bird's nest from the shopkeeper Wong. It had already been a few days. What was she waiting for? Madam told Leonor that business had been pretty bad lately. She had only had 3 or 4 customers, and that's not enough to cover the cost of the bird's nests. Let her be patient for a little longer. Once the immortal master sorted out their problem, she would immediately send someone after them. Leonor asked in surprise, Immortal master? Since that was the case, she would wait a few more days. Mistress told Mister that Leonor is one of the best girls, and she's a bit spoiled. There was nothing surprising in her bad mood, for her monthly income had been greatly reduced, and asked the gentleman to ignore her. He replied that no problem, and asked Madam if she could prepare a guest room for him, just a regular one. He needed some time to make a plan of action, and today he'd like to observe the flower house in operation to make sure everything goes off without incident. The mistress replied that she would arrange it no problem. Let him follow her, she would guide him. And in almost all of her girls' rooms, the bodies of men had already been found. Only Leonor's room hadn't had any such incidents yet. Therefore, her bad mood was understandable. He asked which of these rooms is hers. The mistress immediately pointed her finger to where the room was. He said then he would stay in the guest room tonight and switch with Miss Leonor tomorrow morning. The mistress knocked on Leonor's room and asked if she was there. The girl came out and replied that she was going to sleep. And what did the mistress want at this late hour? Mistress replied that the immortal master would switch rooms with her tomorrow morning, so she would need to pack her things as soon as she woke up. He looked at her angry face and also said that he hoped she would understand. Leonor replied that catching a criminal is one thing, but a man occupying a lady's room is completely different. What kind of nonsense is this anyway? Hay replied that he was only worried that the perpetrator might hurt her. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked her to do such a thing. Leonor walked up to him and touched his face and said that he was very handsome. And given his attractiveness, she would let him stay in her chambers for a while. Mistress pushed her and said that a mortal master is different from other men. Let her behave herself. Leonor turned around and replied that she understood. The lady told the Lord that she apologized. Girls from places like this often lack tact, and asked him not to take it personally. Hay replied that everything was fine. The lady opened the door and told the master that here was his room. The location is just perfect. You can see the whole first floor from here. Madame took his hands and told him that her life and livelihood were in his hands. If there was another murder, even the few customers she had left would scatter. Hay replied that he would do his best, and he promises. Hay slowly pushed her towards the exit, but Mistress tried to talk to him some more. He slammed the door shut. He settled down and sat down at the table thinking that there was indeed a quest related to the brothel in the game, but the reward was too small, so he always ignored it. If only he could go back to his home world, he would never miss another quest again. And now he had a weapon, so he would be cultivating tonight. He needs to scrutinize all the techniques to improve the original body owner, and he's hoping the criminal won't be too difficult to deal with. It's a low-level mission with only 2 points, so there's nothing dangerous here. However, he should not relax. According to the book, having reached the stage of foundation formation, one should gather spiritual energy at the point on the forehead to feel the spirit of all things. And as one's cultivation increases, one's perception intensifies, eventually reaching a completely different level. Even though he's at the Starfire stage, which is the equivalent of forming a base, he should be able to do it. And it seems pretty straightforward. He started cultivating, and after seeing the appearances of the people in front of him, he realized that he could actually sense all things. It turns out cultivation is so interesting. And why did the former owner of the body neglect refining it? If he had put in even a little bit of effort, he might have already reached the 3rd stage. A terrible waste of the Demon Wolf clan's talent. He started practicing and spent the whole night trying to learn all the moves for offense and defense. He suddenly stopped and almost completely learned the first 3 chapters of this technique. But he was curious. When he returned to Luxue Peak, he would definitely borrow more techniques from the library. His joy didn't last long, as suddenly he turned into an animal again. Hay left it all behind and said that he was already on his feet all day. We need to get a good rest to catch the culprit tomorrow. Hay lay down on a couch like a normal person and fell asleep. While outside at night, Ning fought the enemies and said that whether she ran away or not, death still awaited them. The man chasing her replied that she had fallen into their trap without realizing it. And Ms. Ning is more like a pacifier. Ning still fought to escape. But suddenly, she was surrounded from different sides and told that today her jade spirit body would become theirs. But Ning wasn't so simple. She immediately pulled out her sword and used the Silk Dew Moon sword against them. Like a true beauty, she used the attack technique and swung her sword directly at the enemies. The attack was so great that she knocked out the enemies with a single blow. But one of them survived and begged the lady to spare them. But she was ruthless about it and realized that she didn't want to leave any evidence behind. On her way out, she used an electrical attack and fried them. Ning stood on her sword and flew to the place where she needed to fulfill her mission. She flew through Xiao County so fast that no one could even notice her. She used all her strength to deal with the enemies and take control of this mission. On the morning in the flower house in front of Leonor's room, she came out and greeted the Lord and asked how she planned to catch the criminal. Hay said that for now, it's a secret. Leonor said that because the perpetrator cut out his victim's kidneys. She thanked the master for his help. He didn't say anything to her and just turned around and walked into the room. He looked around and said that this place is ordinary. It's even unexpected. But suddenly he heard the lady outside saying to the miss that unfortunately they don't serve women. He was surprised, for a woman had come to the brothel. But seeing her, he hid and wondered why Ning was here. Shouldn't she be on a mission? Ning told mistress that there were hardly any male visitors here as it was. And if a guest brought money, would she really chase her away? The mistress was surprised to see the silver and replied that she was right. Does she want to eat or stay the night? Ning said that she would like to rent a room. She immediately felt that this place had a demonic aura. Fortunately, it didn't smell like blood, so it's probably some minor demon that hasn't done any evil deeds yet. He closed the doors at once, so she wouldn't see him. But suddenly they stopped right in front of his door, and Madam asked Ning what happened. Ning asked who was in this room. The lady replied that it was just one of the girls of their flower house. Who else could be in there? She remembered that the immortal master had asked that she not tell outsiders about him to avoid leaking information. Ning told her that they should be especially careful now. The demons had been more active lately. She had to realize that suspicious individuals could get in here too. He heard the conversation and realized that the jade spirit body, after all, allowed him to sense the presence of demons and evil spirits. Also, in the heavenly realm, one could have no fear as there were many spirit beasts in the mountains. And the aura of spirit beasts is similar to that of demons, and the weak ones aren't even paid attention to. Now that he had entered the outside world, the difference between the auras of a human and a demon was too noticeable. And now he needs to find a way to hide his demonic energy as soon as possible, or else Ning will realize everything when he returns to the heavenly realm. But he remembered that in the game, she was ruthless, killing any demon or evil spirit she encountered. He lay on the couch and waited for the moment to attack and catch the killer. But he thought that from what the flower house owner had said, the attacks usually happen around this time. That killer demon should be here soon. Suddenly, someone in the flower house started screaming and asking for help. He immediately jumped up and ran to fight. There was a mercenary standing in front of the house and holding Lienner in his hands. The mercenary said that he didn't expect to be in this particular room, but beneath his feet lay the corpse of a man who was emaciated. He didn't even show any signs of life. He told him to let her go immediately, and making a big somersault, he got behind the enemy and launched an attack. He realized that this body had the blood of a demonic wolf flowing in it, at least some use for the former owner. He knew a few self-defense techniques, and he had practiced last night. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to dodge. The mercenary got angry and called him a strange cultivator. He didn't continue fighting and ran away. He told the girl to call someone for help while he caught up with the criminal. Lienner replied, okay. Lienner immediately started screaming and asking for help. Ning immediately ran out and asked what happened. Lienner replied that the immortal master had chased after the culprit. Ning thought, did anyone else really take this low-level mission? And shouted at him to stop. He couldn't escape from the strong master. As he rounded the corner, he suddenly stopped and realized that this mercenary was fast and disappeared in a flash. And judging from the recent fight, his cultivation level is close to the peak of foundation formation or even the first stage of wind condensation. And now things are taking a nasty turn. He said that if he let that scum escape, he would have to wait another 3 days. And who knows if he'll come to the flower house after that. And considering today, the mission has already lasted for 2 days. Only 5 days left. And if he didn't complete the mission in time, he would be forcibly teleported back to the celestial realm. And in that case, he would have to resign himself to the path that was set for the former NPC. To die by Ning's sword, and immediately cried. Someone came up from behind and asked the young master why he wasn't going in. He suddenly took a stand to attack out of fear. And is everything all right with young Mr. He? Is she a demonic fox? Isn't she afraid of him? The girl asked back. Should she be? Why should she be afraid of him? He lowered the conversation and replied that it didn't matter. She called him young Mr. Hay. The girl started laughing and said that the young master had once again decided to play a joke on her. He was still in the realm of humans, so they had better enter the demon market first. He didn't refuse her and walked through the barrier with her. Suddenly, he started looking around and asked if she really knew him. The girl replied to young Mr. He to stop playing a trick on her. Everyone here knows who he is. Before entering the pavilion, another girl met them and told the gentleman that it had been a long time since they had seen each other. The girl said that 2 years ago, his aunt had asked him to forge a set of chains sealing demonic energy for him. Payment had been made, but he'd disappeared. And she had no idea she'd run into him at the entrance to the demon market. Suddenly, a great many children appeared in front of him and hugged young Mr. He. The girls asked the young gentleman where he had been these 2 years. They kept his items safe and sound. And why doesn't the gentleman? He looked at them with surprised eyes and thought, what's going on here? Did the former owner of the body really have such a rich backstory? The girl walked over and said that these chains could give off a demonic aura. Only cultivators of the great perfection stage would be able to sense it. And then she switched to the girls and told them to get back to the counter quickly and stop slacking off. He felt that this was exactly what he needed right now. And it seems that his wish had come true. He asked the girl, so is everything really already paid for? It turns out he can have them. The girl replied to the young lord that he didn't have to pay for anything in this store. His clan is extremely favorable to her Ding family. He remembered that she said he disappeared 2 years ago, and he thought it had to do with the fact that he couldn't leave the heavenly realm after he entered it. In the meantime, he'll just go along with everything they say. He can't even imagine what would happen if anyone found out he'd taken possession of that body. He said that he would actually like to buy pills, but he only had a few low-grade spirit stones left. The girl replied that in the demon market, spirit stones were not particularly valued. But since the young master often interacts with humans, of course he must have some human things with him. Now those can be worth quite a lot. Hay said that unfortunately, he only had this bag. The girl replied that the pill store was outside, next to a roadside store run by a chubby medicine spirit. Hay said then he would go there first, and they would see each other later. He went outside and looked for the pill store with his eyes. Hay headed out on a hunch and stood outside the store asking, is anyone here? But suddenly a talking mug answered him. Hay asked him if he was the one who owned the store. The mug replied that was correct. Hay asked the gentleman, what does he wish to buy? He replied that he would like to trade that bag for pills, something that could heal wounds, if he had such a thing. The mug began to wobble in different directions and suddenly spit out a green pill. Mug said that he was willing to trade his sack for a rejuvenation pill of 9 cycles. It can revive even a dead man, but he only has one with him, so unfortunately there will only be 1 pill as well, and replied that so be it. He would try to bring more next time. The guy realized that exchanging an old sack for a pill that could raise even a dead man on his feet was a very good deal. I'll have to remember to stock up on junk next time, and even though he lost his stuff, he gained some real treasure, so it's definitely not a failure. But Hay decided he'd put things away first, and then he'd have to check on the owner of the flower house. Another person had died today, and something told him that her business wouldn't last long. Ning attacked him from behind with her sword and asked where the person he was chasing was. He asked Nurse Ning, how did she end up here? The girl replied that the demonic aura from him was too strong. Hay said what must have been left over from the battle with that criminal, and he apologizes for the discomfort he caused. He was glad that he had time to wear this bracelet that suppressed the demonic aura. Ning said that's how it is. And is he sure about it? She realized that this aura clearly belonged to someone who was in the early stages of vein condensation. Why is there a demon above the base formation stage encountered on a low-level mission? Ning told the guy to follow her. They need to talk to the owner of the flower house. Ning said that she would also report the situation to the main pavilion and ask for an extension on the mission. Hay asked with surprise, really? Ning turned around and told him to stop talking. They need to go. After the conversation, they came to the mistress while she was feeding Lianer from a plate. Ning asked Ms. Lianer if she could describe the attacker's appearance. The girl replied that the man seemed to have no face, and a face of frightening black emptiness. It must have been a demon, all right. Ning asked her, did he attack while she was busy? Lianer answered that yes. Ning told the guy that during intercourse, the yang energy in men's kidneys peaks, making them the perfect treat for demons and demonic cultivators. Madam cried and said that she thought Lianer would be safe if she switched rooms, so she let her take in a client. And greed blinded her. Now that another person has died, the flower house in Jiayao County will have to close down. Neen asked the lady if there were other such establishments within a 100-mile radius where men could relax. The mistress replied that no, just them. Ning suddenly realized that this girl was also a cultivator and said that was fine. Then the culprit would return, but for now, he would probably lay low for a few days, and she and her little brother will stay here for a month. During that time, she will pretend to be her employee, and Hay will pretend to be a client. Hay was surprised and asked what? Ning looked and asked in response, does little brother not like something? The guy replied that of course not. He will do as his sister says. Ning approached Madam and asked her to make up an alias for her. This would make it easier for her to pretend to be a courtesan so as not to attract unwanted attention. Mistress said she could not allow a master of her level to stoop to a girl from her establishment. Ning replied that she was just doing her duty of exorcising demons. Let Madam not make things up. Her younger brother, from today onwards, will be living with her. He blushed and pointed his finger at himself. He walked out of the room with his sister and asked, could he really lose a kidney? But he also realized that he could transform again at night, which was extremely bad. If they didn't kill the criminal as soon as possible, he would be the first to die. He read the 4th chapter of the scripture Universal Law's basic elements in this place. It turned out to be not so complicated, but he needs to increase his cultivation before facing that assassin again. Next time, he won't let him slip away. He gave an angry look and said that it was a mercenary who dared to commit such an atrocity right in front of his eyes. The guy put the book to the side and remembered that the text said that how to open the sea of chi. One must gather spiritual energy and direct it outward, and then expand your perception and keep your mind calm. Spiritual energy is as thin as a thread, as light as a cicada's wing, as difficult to catch. But after a few days of practice, he was finally able to touch her and use some of his cultivation. Ning suddenly came up from behind and said that since the day he had challenged her, he had changed a lot. She remembered him telling her that from now on, he too would study in the heavenly realm. He would win at the great competition and make her his wife. Ning remembered that she had first met him then, 2 years ago. So why did he want to marry her as soon as he entered the heavenly realm? Ning didn't waste any time either and sat next to he to cultivate and improve her abilities. She looked at the sky and said that the sun would set soon. And according to rumors, he had already attended classes at Lushui Peak for 3 days, and there was almost no effect. But what she saw today was very different from that information. But he realized one thing: if he continued to train like this, he would break through to the wind condensation stage in less than a month. How fast he's progressing. Everyone should bow down to his power. He came to his senses and said that he would become the strongest. After cultivating, they came to the flower house. But he was angry, and he had a feeling that he would transform again today. And something had to be done about it before it was too late. But suddenly the door opened, and Ning walked in. He dodged and told his sister that she was already back. He asked her how she was doing. Is everything all right? Would she like some tea? Ning answered him that she had been watching him all day. And after the sun set, she went into town to take another look around. He asked with surprise, all day? He hadn't even noticed. Ning said that when she entered the store yesterday, she felt a faint demonic aura. Today, it disappeared. Wasn't what she felt yesterday his demonic aura? And after he put on that bracelet, the demonic aura was suppressed. That's why she couldn't sense it. Did she already know who he was? Ning said that it must be the residual aura of that demon. So she decided to go around the city to see if there were any more traces of its energy anywhere. He in his head sighed and decided that he was lucky. Ning said it was already deep into the night, so she would go take a bath and go to bed. He suddenly replied that he was a guy after all. They can live in different rooms, after all, since it's awkward for her to take a bath. Ning told him that he once said he would get stronger and marry her. So why is he so embarrassed now? He replied that he was young and foolish then, and sometimes he talked nonsense. Don't let her take it personally. Ning was upset and asked, was he just talking nonsense? What if she let her bathe with her? He was very surprised to see her start undressing right away. But Ning asked him to prepare hot water for her. He couldn't even refuse her and granted her wish. And while she was changing his clothes, he stood behind the wall and sat. Ning stepped into the barrel and began to bathe. But he asked himself to hold on and not give in to it. He saw that this woman was too unpredictable, and if he wasn't careful, tonight would be his last. Ning asked brother, let him say if he had studied anywhere before entering the heavenly realm. He replied that no, he didn't have that opportunity. Ning said she thought so. Doesn't he want to learn something more? She could help with that. He looked at her and replied that personal instruction was forbidden. Ning suddenly looked at him angrily and asked, how long was he planning to stare for? He apologized and replied that he was a little overexcited. Ning said that she would not become his teacher. She just needs to make sure he doesn't hold her back when they catch the perpetrator. He told her not to worry. If anyone asked, he would tell her that he had learned about it from the scriptures. He felt himself begin to transform, and his fluffy tail was the first to come out. He started to panic and get angry because he had forgotten about the transformation. He immediately told Nurse Ning that he was hungry and would go find a shop to eat noodles. Ning thought that he had been cultivating for so many years, but he still couldn't control his appetite. He ran out of the room like a madman, saying he had to hurry. He looked at the hand that had turned into a paw and said that he was turning too fast. He flew into the air and set a goal that he must find out the identity of the original owner of the body and learn how to control the transformation. And if he was unlucky enough for Ning to catch him, his stay in the other world would be over quickly. But in a moment he stopped and his eyes went to his forehead. He thought, what is that smell? How delicious it smells in here. He slowly made his way through the bushes and knew by the smell what he had found. And it was a fried fish that was frying. But looking closely, he saw the girl sitting next to him and even had him cat. The girl looked at him with sweet eyes and asked, puppy-like, if he was hungry. He began to wag his head and pointed at himself with his paw. The girl said that yes, she talks to him, but she also saw the collar, and it turns out he has an owner. And then he shouldn't be wandering around in the woods at this hour. And if he gets lost, his owner will be very upset and thought it was a cute girl. The girl handed him the fish and told him to help himself. He would definitely like it. He began to eat very good food and to be happy. But he heard a cat's voice nearby, asking him how he liked her mistress's fish. And she told him once, quickly let him finish it and get out of here. He made a sound and asked the cat, is he really jealous of his mistress? Is he so cute that he feels threatened? The cat replied to him that he was a spirit animal, not some mongrel. And how could he possibly be jealous? They couldn't help themselves and started fighting and scratching. But the girl saw this and shouted at them to stop. The girl started to run toward them to separate them, but got caught by her dress and fell right in front of them, and she was left naked. Hay was surprised and stared at her intently. But the cat punched him with his paw and told him to turn away immediately and called him a pervert for last. The girl said she should get rid of her bad habit of putting everyone at peace. Hay looked at her through the bushes and saw a very marvelous sight. The girl picked up her clothes and said that it was quite cold at night, and it was good that she had brought her cloak with her. Hay was looking at her at this time, and his nose was bleeding. The girl saw this and asked what was wrong with him. He realized that it was called a bloodstream. He was still young after all, so he didn't see this kind of thing very often. The girl wiped the blood away and said she had stopped it, but he'd still better have some hot water when he got back. Hay was surprised when and heard that boiling water can cure all diseases. The cat asked him, does he think he doesn't know why his nose is bleeding? It's his mistress, so don't even let him dare to think about it. Hay asked him, what's going to happen? But suddenly the girl started to say that she was even wondering how things were going at home, even though it's none of her business. Her father and mother don't care about her, and she doesn't care what they think and throws the rest of the fish on the ground. He asked what happened to his mistress. The cat replied that the master and mistress were forcing her to marry the heir of another beast tamer clan. Hay asked, so did she just run away because of the marriage? Cat asked back, what else was she supposed to do? He would see him so big and strong, he could even kill a pig with his ass. But the mistress still won't be able to escape. The master and mistress understands the language of animals and will soon find her. Then suddenly the girl heard a rustling in the forest and asked, who is there? Let him come out immediately, and immediately pulled out a whip. She wondered if her father and mother had found her so quickly. But what should she do now? But then Ning came out and said that it turns out she was from the Tamer clan. No wonder there's so much demonic energy around. Hay was surprised to see her, because Ning had been able to find him. She looked at the puppy and wondered if it was the same one. That explains why she hasn't seen him in days. She also knew that this was a dormitory for students. So if he didn't have an owner, the girl asked her who she was. Ning answered her that when she asked another person to introduce herself, shouldn't she do it herself first? The girl replied that her name is Qin Lianxin of the Qin clan. Ning didn't hold back and introduced herself and said that she was from the heavenly realm, Lushui Peak. Lianxin asked her with surprise, is she Madam Ning? Is it really true? He looked at them and thought, how did she even manage to meet her fan here? Lianxin told her that she had admired her for a long time. But could the lady please leave her autograph for her? She held up her clothes and, tossing them into the sky, asked if she could leave an autograph on the back. Ning asked in surprise, autograph? But let her forget about it. She would give her some of her things, and gave her her things. Lianxin smiled and thanked her. Ning told her that if it was okay with her, she would give her this comb. Lianxin rejoiced and shouted that she was very happy. He looked at all this and decided that it was time for her to get the hell out of here. But suddenly Ning noticed it and told him to stop. He blushed, but realized that he had a demonic bracelet, so she wouldn't be able to sense his demonic aura, and said there was no collar last time. She said it was like that. I mean, he's so cute. I guess girls give him lots of presents, right? Ning told the girl that she felt a demonic aura nearby, but since it was coming from her spirit animal, she knows that dog, so she'll take it with her. Lianxin asked her, is she leaving already? Ning replied that yes, she's staying at a flower house. It's not far away. Lianxin said that she would go with him then, leaving Qin Lianxin behind. Ning and he returned to her chambers. He cried hard and thought, why is it happening again? Ning tells him that since he's here, he won't let Hay bother them, and she thinks he won't come today, and she hopes he won't have any trouble surviving until tomorrow morning. He heard all of this and thought hard. Was he really that bad compared to the puppy? Ning hugged him and said his fur was so soft, and he smelled so nice. Not like a dog at all, but Hay was so cute that he even felt nauseous. Ning picked him up and carried him to bed. Ning suddenly used her magic and said she locked the doors and windows and hoped he would know what to do when he got back. How was he going to get out of here before morning? There's also that damn transformation. They lay down on the couch together, and he felt that Sister Ning was very soft and smelled like flowers. But he immediately went up to her breasts and stopped wondering what he was doing. Ning noticed this and said she thought the puppy was a loner. But it turned out that he liked to lick like the rest of us. He was thinking about the fact that he was attracted to Ning's body at this time. He couldn't help himself. Fortunately, he's in beast form. If he were human, he would probably have died by now. But if one day Ning's sister finds out that this puppy is him, it will be very bad for him. But can a puppy have bad intentions? Whose fault is it that he was born a spiritual beast, let alone demons and monsters? And even the average person can't resist something like this. He's literally being forced. Ning looked at the puppy and decided to say that she should give it a name. Although you can only give names to your pets, right? Ning asked him if he would like to be your pet, but he didn't answer her and just started barking. But he realized that if he agreed to become her spirit pet, he would no longer be able to escape from the mountain. But she seems to like this puppy, so she'd be disappointed if he turned her down. Ning said she knows he's still young and doesn't want to leave his parents. It's not a big deal. He'll be able to say yes when he's older. And if he becomes a pet, he will have to follow his owner for the rest of his life, and he will never see his parents again. He realized that, judging from the reaction, he was fine with this option. And Sister Ning treats animals and humans differently. She's always cold to the latter and doesn't let them near her. Ning told the puppy that they needed to sleep. And tomorrow, she has to teach Brother Hay a technique, and she hopes he will learn it quickly. He got really excited and thought, doesn't she trust anyone? He must just be paranoid. But suddenly he stopped and realized that this was bad. Very bad. These thoughts distracted him from what was really important. The door is locked. He's being held in her arms. And if a naked man is in her bed tomorrow morning, he's finished. He's unable to destroy his sister's tech, so he can't get out the door. And why is he so unlucky? But maybe someone will save him. Shouldn't he die by her sword in 6 months, like he did in the game? What's the rush? He hasn't had time to enjoy this world yet. Hay had been up all night, and when he opened his eyes, he looked up and saw that his sister was sound asleep, and it was time for him to act. He slowly got down from the couch, and standing in front of the doors, he realized that there was only one thing left to do: dig. Hay got right down to business and saw that in an hour, he should be able to handle it. But suddenly, he felt someone behind him, and Ning asked him what he was doing. He slowly turned around and thought, why is she awake? I mean, he was trying not to make any noise. How would he explain all this to her? Ning said she thought she understood. Does he want to go to the bathroom? Then she'll let him out. Hay started waving his head and was surprised that it was so easy. Ning used her magic and opened all the doors. He didn't bother to stop and ran out at a frantic speed. Ning realized that he must have put up with it for a long time. But as she approached her bed, she felt a demonic aura. She didn't stand still and flew outside. He had already reached the forest at this time and was saying that he had finally made it out. But it still wouldn't be cool if he went back to human form. Right in the woods. Better that than die, though. Hay decided that he needed to find that demoness and get some new clothes. He immediately ran into the courtyard and stopped. He looked around and remembered the last time they had entered here. But why had the entrance disappeared? But suddenly he remembered the girl asking him why he was asking such things. I mean, they're all demons. Each of them can find an entrance. It's weird that he doesn't even remember. And it seems like he's really forgotten a lot of things, even his own essence. Min told him that although the demon and human races had reached a certain agreement, there were still those among the human practitioners who hated them. And so the entrance cannot be fixed at one point. However, the place where the passage opens are not so far apart, and said he would have to look for it. He jogged around and suddenly saw Min flying over. He saw Min go through the wall and realized where the entrance was and where he needed to go. He began to wonder why Sister Ning's scent was becoming more and more distinct, and saw that she was really almost here. He didn't waste any time and went through the portal too. Ning descended and realized that the demonic aura had suddenly disappeared. And from the looks of it, the entrance to the demon market was somewhere around here. Ning got angry and said that this time he was lucky, and someday she would learn the secret of their world. After entering the world, the girl asked Mr. He, "What does he want to play today?" The other girl also said that she didn't know he was so handsome. He turned into a man in front of them at this time and stood in front of them with his naked body. The girls laughed and covered him with compliments. He blushed heavily and told the girls that he was happy to see them too. And it was a good thing he had gotten into demon territory before the transformation. Neen would have called him a demon spawn and finished him off. Hei rejoiced that he was very lucky. Hei turned around and told the girls that he was in a hurry and they would continue their conversation later. He stormed over to Ding and asked for help. Dean looked at him and asked what happened to the master. He replied that he had suddenly returned to human form, but he didn't have his clothes with him. He suddenly wondered why she was reacting like that. But Dean didn't talk to him long and used magic to put it on. Hei was surprised and thought it was cool. Ding turned to Mr. He and said that he should take a stroll through the demon market and buy himself a spatial artifact. Hei asked in surprise, "What is that?" Ding replied that it was the name of an object that could hold other objects. An artifact of low quality is good enough to hold a few things. In the realm of humans, such a stone was worth 10,000 spirit stones, but here, if he could get his hands on human things, something a little better than that pouch, he might be able to just barter it away. He could put as many sets of clothes in it as he wanted. Hei thought for a moment and replied that maybe some other time. Hei suddenly asked her, "Where is her sister?" Ding replied that Ding Min's sister was not at home. Hei told her to tell her to say hi to him for him. He would visit them again later. Ding wished Mr. Hei goodbye and wished him to take care of himself. He suddenly thought about it and remembered that Sister Ning was chasing a criminal and he had led her to the demon market. But why did he come from the direction of the flower house? Besides, he doesn't know if Sister Ning has already left. But fortunately, the exit is now somewhere else, so he's unlikely to run into her. Hei came to the room and knocked and asked his sister if she was asleep. He felt that she needed to be braver. Suddenly, the doors opened in front of him, and seeing his sister said he knew she was awake. Ning asked him if he had gone to get noodles and returned in new clothes. Hei replied that he had been accosted by a street urchin at the shop. He helped him, but the ragamuffin got so angry that he threw a bowl at him. The shopkeeper thanked him for his help and lent him the clothes. He would return it tomorrow. He was happy because he had made up an alibi in advance. Ning said it was an act worthy of a Taoist, and he doesn't have to sleep with her tonight. Wouldn't that affect her plan to catch the criminal? Ning replied that a demoness came to the flower house tonight, but she wounded her and she escaped. She went in pursuit, but she managed to hide in the demon market. He was suddenly surprised and asked what? Ning asked him, "Is something wrong?" Hei asked, "Came to the flower house? Is it the same criminal who is stabbing people? But it's not time yet, and yes, he injured him in that skirmish. So why is he in such a hurry?" Ning replied that maybe it was because he had heard him that he had dared to do such a thing. Maybe that's what it's all about, because this kind of thing is unforgivable. Ning suddenly said that it was late outside. It was time for him to go to bed. Hei bowed and wished his sister good night. He walked outside and thought, why is the criminal so obsessed with his goal? He would rather risk his life than give up what he had planned, and it doesn't make any sense. And there's another thing that doesn't make sense. But why is she so affectionate to the puppy, but disgusted with her? He said that if she treated him even a tenth as well when he was human, then maybe he wouldn't even have to die. But Sister Ning doesn't really like people, so he decided that he didn't need to think about it. It was time to sleep, and he has more training tomorrow. Lianxin met them and told them to wait for her too. The girl said she wanted to join them for training too. Ning answered her that her clan and their sect were two different factions. Lianxin remembered and said that it's like this. She apologizes she didn't think of it. It's just that it's so hard to see them, so she won't bother them. Looking forward to seeing them at dinner. Ning accepted her words and thanked her for her understanding. They immediately went to practice, and she asked brother how far he had gotten in cultivation. He said, ashamed to admit it, but he had only broken through to the chi refining stage the day before yesterday. He confessed and said it was all his fault. He practiced too little, and realized that since his energy and chi had the same aura, Ning should not detect anything. Ning said that it didn't matter, because if he had reached the first stage of chi purification, he was already able to learn the techniques. That was what they would do today. Ning asked her brother if they could get to the other side. He remembers the lesson from the outer sect. Hei replied that he couldn't, and to be honest, he had never been to a class before. He realized that she was going to teach him how to walk on air. Ning said she would only show once, so let her watch carefully. Today, they would be learning the first style of cloud stepping technique, a boat floating on the water surface. If he mastered it, he would be able to float in the clouds. Ning began to show and tell me that first I should direct the chi to my feet. Imagine that they are two flat boats, and her energy is flowing under them. And he should learn to steer this current so that it forms a stable platform under his feet. And then you should gently push the chi out of your body, like a leaf on the surface of a lake rising and falling with the fluctuations of the water. And his body should become like a leaf that moved with the flow of chi. He remembered that the past owner's body comprehended the Tao 10 times faster than ordinary people. So he just has to understand what his sister is talking about. Ning demonstrated and told him to remember that it's all about ease and control. Water is malleable, but it can penetrate rocks. His body must become like it. Then he can walk on water. He also got up on the water and told his sister that she was great at explaining. When Ning saw this, she was surprised and asked, "How is this possible?" Ning asked that he had already learned how to do it, but asked that he knew how to do it from the beginning and just lied to her. He suddenly asked her, what was she talking about? He looked under his feet and saw that he was standing over the ice. He told her to take it easy. It was just her native dialect. He really didn't know how to do it. He didn't lie, but after doing what she said, he realized that the body is capable of learning anything it hears or sees. So why hadn't the past owner done anything for the last 2 years? And perhaps this body is incredible. However, due to laziness and ignorance, this time was wasted. Ning realized the same thing, that she had comprehended the first style for 7 whole days, and he was able to master it in an instant. Even genius wasn't enough to fully describe his talent. He thought to himself, I'm sure she was thinking the same thing he was. And he told his sister that he was just lucky. He needs to practice to reach his level. Ning told him that he could study here, and she would return to the inn. She realized that she needed to report such a gift to the master, so that she could make him an inner disciple as well. He said goodbye to her and wished her to see her soon. And then he realized that he was slightly mistaken in his plan. And he's thinking about his talent, and he'll find out soon. But now he would have to search the demon market again for an item to conceal his aura. Now he would have to be even more careful. Ning went to her house and decided to talk to the master. She was asked, is something wrong? Ning replied to the master that the head of Luche Peak was his sister, right? He could take away one outer disciple from her. The master replied that right, it was quite possible. Did she have someone in mind? A disciple named he. Master asked with surprise and said that she knew the guy, even heard a couple stories about their encounters. Ning told the teacher that she shouldn't listen to any gossip, only wasting her time. The master replied to her that they were so interesting and would tell her someday, as always, is predictable. How will she find a life partner with that attitude? Ning asked the master in response, then where is her partner? The master told him to tell her to be quiet, and they won't waste time. She still needs to talk to her sister. That would be the end of it. Ning was surprised and saw the locket fall. Half a month passed, and still nothing happened in the flower house. There were more visitors. The lady welcomed everyone and suggested that they stop by, and they waited for them for a very long time. She saw that, thanks to the masters, things were moving forward again. Ning and her brother looked at the people from the balcony and said that she had seriously injured her last time, and it had been quite some time. However, it was still impossible to relax. He asked his sister why she was so obsessed with the flower house. She could have gone anywhere else. There are a couple towns nearby. Aren't there similar establishments? Why would she risk coming here again? Ning replied that she had something to do with the flower house, and if they caught her, the truth would come out. Suddenly and unexpectedly, a cat attacked them from behind. It stood in front of them and started snapping at them. Lianxin ran over and set a chime, detecting a demonic aura. And this demon is very careful. She must be suppressing her aura somehow, that one appearing and almost immediately disappearing. Ning took that to heart and asked, suppressing the demonic aura? He immediately started thinking and decided that it wasn't him. No demonic aura had been emanating from him for days. Ning said that she was afraid to imagine that she had already blended into the crowd, and it was impossible to determine his location from the demonic aura traces. Lianxin said that you can't act rashly and involve the common people. Ning replied that it's okay. When she kills someone, there will be an aura surge, and she will find her immediately. And she would find her and wipe her out. He went for a little walk and suddenly saw Liangra catch the Lord by the arm and tell him that he had too much to drink, and she would take him upstairs to rest. He said he hadn't seen Lianer for a few days. The landlady said she had been sick, but was now well and receiving customers. And they are carried away drunken years, and without wine, saying goodbye forever. Like expensive, tart wine, and they can't understand its taste. Ning suddenly heard all this and asked her brother, can he write poetry? He thought for a moment and replied that he couldn't, but sometimes he could. The master hugged dear Liang and said that he missed her, and it was a good thing that the flower house was doing well. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to meet her. He heard all this and asked, "Does this work?" The master asked her if she could sing him his favorite song. Liana replied that they had nowhere to rush. Let him wait for a while. The master started laughing loudly and said that she was right. They still had plenty of time. He and Liana's gazes crossed, and it seemed to him that her aura wasn't the same as before. And why did he feel like he knew her? And also wondered how long she'd even worked here? He asked his sister, if this demon knows that they are here, would she have the courage to come through here again? Couldn't she just find a guy, knock him out, and do things the old-fashioned way? Neen asked him what old-fashioned meant. He replied that he meant that she wasn't using magic, but just wielding the knife. In that case, she wouldn't be able to detect her demonic aura. Ning thought and realized that if that was the case, most of the guests would be dead by now. And this demon is very clever. She chose the most crowded place for her purposes, so it would not be easy to detect her. As the saying goes, the most dangerous place is where they feel protected. Isn't it more satisfying to kill someone right under their nose? And suddenly he thought and said that he realized where he had met this aura before. And he hopes he's not imagining it. And he doesn't know why, but he wants to check something out. He didn't answer and walked through the doors of Lianer with speed. Lianer realized at that moment that someone was coming, but she didn't have time to hide. So Hay caught her red-handed. Lianer held the bloody knife in her hand and tried to ask Mr. He what he was doing here. But Ning didn't speak and threw a stone at her hand to knock the knife away. Ning said it was a demon. Lianer made a very pathetic look and even let a tear fall to make them believe her. But she didn't say anything to them and immediately jumped out of the window. Ning ran after her at once to catch up with her. But he didn't waste the opportunity and robbed the dead master and said he didn't care if he died, but he didn't want her to take another life. Let him consider himself lucky. Liana wouldn't stop and said she had to run. But Ning caught up with her and asked her where she was going. Lianxin also ran, and Ning told her to keep her eyes on her, and she would go to intercept her. Ning managed to take one last step with her magic and dropped down right in front of her. Ning called her a demon and asked, did she really think she could escape her again? And it was time for her to die. Ning told her to give up, but behind her, Lianxin ran up behind her with a cat and screamed that she was a demon, and threw the cat at her, saying she couldn't escape them. The cat suddenly let out a sudden puff of smoke, from which she emerged a large and huge tiger. Lianer saw him and was frightened, for the tiger stood in front of her and showed his sharp and big teeth. How cool is that? At this time, he ran towards them and shouted to Ning to wait and tell her not to kill her. He suggested to her that they should find out why she did it. He realized that he couldn't recognize the Ming-sama in her yet, or else he wouldn't be able to explain his relationship with her to Sister Ning. And where was the real Liang? Lianer stared and didn't know what to say to them. Ning told her that even if she didn't, it would be enough for her that she had killed dozens of people. Justice will be served. Lianer asked with surprise, justice? And Ning said, she is human, so she believes that heaven is on her side and other races only deserve death, right? The humans have killed a lot of demons for no reason. So what's the point of doing justice? Ning told her that she was killing people after all. Liana got angry and replied that it was because she deserved to die. He stopped his sister and said that this was his mission, so let him handle it. Ning replied that this demon was stronger than him. Would he be able to handle her? He looked at her angrily and replied that yes. Ning said she would watch from the sidelines. He approached her and asked if she could tell him why she was killing. Liana realized that Mr. He was now this woman's disciple, so he didn't want to reveal his identity. The He family is their benefactor. She can't put him in a bad position, and immediately transformed into her true appearance. Ming said that 2 years ago, she had saved a scholar in Zhuiyao County. He immediately realized that he already knew what was about to happen. Min said she saved him from the brigands, gave him gold and jewelry. The boy told her that he would never betray her love for him. Min continued that this guy said he wanted to go to the capital to take the exam. She thought he was a man of honor, but her acquaintances told her that he was not studying at all, but was always going to brothels. He spent all his time and the money she gave him on those fallen women. She went to the flower house afterward to find out the truth, and saw that he was having fun with that Liang. Then he accused her of being a demon and even tried to kill her. From the tip he gave, Luan Xiangxi found her. For long hours they tortured her kin and then killed her. Fortunately, a great master helped them. She escaped with her 3 sisters, and the rest died. That's why she kills people. Let them die without honor. She's already said what she wants to say. She can't escape anyway, so he can kill her if he wants to. He asked his sister what she thought. Ning replied that this is his mission, and it's up to him to decide what to do with it. And Lianxin sat on her cat and told her that it was time for them to go home. They all dispersed and left the two of them alone. He thanked Ms. Min for helping him hide his identity. Min replied that she was the one who should thank him. Suddenly, she felt sick and almost fainted. He caught her and stopped her from falling. Min said that that master was from the He family. He realized that was why she said that the He family was her benefactor. Min said that her life was in his hands. He replied that if he let her go, Sister Ning would never forget it. But there is only one way to save her. He asked her if she would be his pet. The girl was surprised and thought hard. The flower house mistress rejoiced and said that it was very good that no one had died. She hugged Ning and said she was very glad she was here. Otherwise, they would have had to go through all those horrors again. Ning looked at the scene and couldn't believe he had survived after losing so much blood. He came in and told Ning that he was done, and let Madame know that he had dealt with the demons. Now she wouldn't bother them, and he sent people to fetch Mistress Liang. She was not hurt. The lady began to cry even harder and replied that she was grateful to them. The mistress gathered herself and said that she had prepared something for them as a reward and was about to send someone to fetch it. Ning asked him with surprise, tamed? He replied that was correct, but Nurse told him that he was still too soft-hearted. He answered her that she was well aware that her hands were bloody, but it was only because she was the first to know betrayal. These people, they're bad. But Ning said that they weren't bad, but they weren't good either. Even if they took the path of evil, it's not for her to judge them. But what did he do to her? He showed the bracelet in his hands and replied that she had become his spiritual pet. He would spend his whole life atoning for his sins. Ning was surprised and said that now that the mission was accomplished, they should return to the heavenly realm to get their points. He saw that she understood, and everyone carried through, and rejoiced because of the fact that his sister didn't say anything. Lianxin yelled that her parents already knew where she was, so she had to leave. And they will also see each other. Ning, and he guided the girl, and she told her brother that he would go with her. She had already finished her mission and needed to return to the heavenly realm by evening. He was left with no choice and replied that it was fine. He realized that because of Min, his sister had become even colder to him. After completing the 4 missions, he was going to leave the heavenly realm. So it's even good that she feels that way about her. The next day in the Palm Pavilion, Qing met her brother and said that she had heard from the other disciples that he had returned with Ning. He was surprised and replied that she already knew that too. Qing said that she was the editor-in-chief after all, and if he tells her anything, she promises not to write anything about it. And unlike others, she doesn't think Qin Shen and Ning are a perfect match. I mean, she's not the least bit interested in him, so he still has a chance. He asked in surprise again. She said that last time too. Qing asked him, really? And started laughing and said that she had such sharp eyes after all. She would definitely see if they had something, right? He replied that he was just helping Ning with the mission. He remembered that in the game, his character was constantly hitting on Ning, and in the end she decided to be with Qin Sheng. But could it be that her love line has to do with molesting NPCs? And he's the one who pushed Ning towards Qin Sheng. How he's so sick of it. It's his fault that he missed the plot of the game and can't even remember the details. He walked with Qing and said, here they are. Qing told him to tell her if he remembered anything, but he was very tired and only thought of resting. Entering his room, he said he was very tired. And falling down on the sofa, he began to cheer and shout. He immediately jumped up from the couch and prepared to attack. He asked with surprise, human? Liao showed herself and told Brother He that he was finally back. The guy asked his sister why. Liao replied that she had waited so long for him that she had fallen asleep. And she asked her brother how the mission went. He told his sister to get up and leave his room, or people would still think all sorts of things. He realized that Liao was too persistent. He had used his trick on him so many times before, but he still wouldn't give up. Is it really so necessary to piss him off? Liao hugged her brother and asked him why he was so rude to her. Had she done something wrong? Was there anything she could do to fix it? And pushed her to the side. Liao was in a lot of pain and even made sounds of pain. He told his sister that he didn't want to waste his time on her. He's going to be honest, and he knows what she wants to do. Liao asked him with surprise, does he know? But from where she thought? He turned around and answered her not to worry so much. He knows she likes him, but now is not the time. But the guy realized that she thought he would tell about her affair with Qin Shen, or about Qin Shen dealing with demons. He only wants to scare her. Liao smiled and told her brother that he was so stupid, but she was actually scared, and even thought that he had really guessed everything. He said he was very tired and it was past his bedtime. He suggested that she talk about it next time. Liao started yelling to her brother that she wasn't dressed yet, but he didn't feel sorry for her and threw her outside like garbage. He closed the door and realized that he had already turned her down several times, but she still wouldn't give up, and it looked like they wouldn't stop until they got his blood. The guy told Sheng that since he went against him, then let him not regret messing him up later. He headed to Josher Peak and said that he didn't remember exactly where that cave that was in the game was located. And that was where Qin Shun had made a deal with the demons. And there are clearly not many people here. Qin Shun is very good at hiding. The people around him think he is an honest and righteous person. But in reality, he is actually cooperating with the dark forces, taking full advantage of their gifts. Otherwise, he would never have become the head disciple of Luxue Peak. He hadn't thought about it when he'd played, but now, after racking his brain, he realized that the legend of the immortal swordsman was a hackneyed piece of work. The developers didn't care about quality at all. But why does his character get killed off so early? Xian may have sucked all the life force out of him, but the secondary character's storyline ended almost at the very beginning. But suddenly Min appeared and said that she could feel a faint demonic energy. Hei asked if she could identify its source. Min replied that they were demonic vixens, sensing energy much better than other demons. Hei said then they should go. Min surrounded him with her energy and they flew to find the source. He realized that thanks to his older sister, he had learned how to move quickly through both trees and water. And if he fully mastered this technique, he wouldn't even need a prop. Min told the Lord that the sources. Hei came down and said that the cave was a good place to hide. Min suddenly stopped the master and told him that it could be dangerous. Maybe he'd let her go in first, and even if he met someone, he still wouldn't be able to detect them. Hei told her to be careful. Min replied that she was even willing to risk her life for him. Min didn't stop and walk through the waterfall. He said that there was indeed a cave behind the waterfall, but the demonic energy emanating from there was quite weak. Min went into the cave and said that it looked like it was just echoes. Hei replied that he should check it out, in case there was something unusual. Ming said that she understood and went deeper. But then she decided to say that this was the very place where Qin Shun traded with demons. However, there was no one here. Suddenly, Min stopped and saw something. Hei asked her what was wrong. The girl replied that she had found it, and it was obviously left by demons, and she would bring it now. He said he was waiting for her. Min took the spirit image and slowly walked out with the box in her hands. He asked how he could open it. Without thinking for a long time, he pressed the button at the top. The casket immediately opened, and a purple color suddenly appeared, which he was frightened very much. But Min stood by her side and realized what it was. She hugged the Lord and said, "Demonic artifact." Hei was surprised and asked what? Min replied that immortal radiance. The guy thought for a moment and said it sounded familiar. Min said she wouldn't mistake that energy for anything. When she was a child, the Demon King and the Dragon King fought in a battle, and it was the former who used the power of the immortal radiance. It almost completely protected him from the Dragon King's attack. She never thought she would find such a treasure in a small cave in the heavenly realm, and apparently the heavens themselves have blessed him. His luck is truly astounding, and this artifact has almost absolute protection. But in order to use it, certain conditions must be met. Hei looked at it and asked which ones. Min apologized and replied that she only knew what the artifact in question was. Hei asked her how on earth did she know so much. Min replied to the gentleman that he had forgotten that she had her own store in the demon market. She had seen countless weapons, and the demon foxes were once considered a major force in the demon clan. They had witnessed many unimaginable events, and they already have the artifact anyway. And it's good to have such a trump card. It's just a matter of figuring out how to use it. Hei asked why the Demon King left such an important thing in the cave. Min replied that she didn't know and had only found this box there. There was also some ash. He asked in surprise, ashes? And replied that in fact, she had heard that the Demon King had been attacked by immortals and seriously injured. Min asked in surprise, did he really die and these ashes were all that was left of him? He replied that at the moment, the Demon King was not dead yet because there would be many events related to him later in the game. Min asked the gentleman what he was talking about. Hei decided not to tell her anything and said it was nothing, but he realized that he had better keep an eye on Qin Sheng and find out what he was up to. He had to find out what kind of deal he had made with the king as soon as possible. Suddenly someone knocked on the door and they immediately turned around. Min turned into a bracelet and said that she would hide for now. Hei just opened the window and saw a bird standing in front of him. and was holding a letter in its mouth and said it was an invitation from Sister Ning. He burned the letter and headed towards her. The misty forest is located on Lushui Peak. It is quite difficult to get to, so there are almost no people there, and shouted to Nurse Ning. The girl said that today she would teach him how to float in the clouds. Did she decide to teach him the next steps so quickly? Ning replied that she would go on a mission tomorrow. She would be gone for at least half a month or more. He asked with surprise, "Half a month? Is the mission related to demons?" Ning asked, was he interested in her mission specifically? He replied that at his current level, he could only take one entry-level mission, and he fears that by the time more challenging missions become available to him, she will already be in the realm of the immortals. He wondered why he felt so uncomfortable. Maybe she wanted him to go with her? Ning said that she would do the same thing as before, but with slight changes, so let her watch carefully. She has yet to stop by to say goodbye to the master, so he won't have a chance to monitor his success. He replied that he understood. Ning began to show and tell me that the cloud steps were not just related to physical strength, but to the flow of air between the sky and the earth. Recognize the tiniest whiff of power, like playing a zither, and use it to become one with heaven and earth. And let him not forget that their bodies are not meant to burst through the air, but to merge with it, to become part of the flow, like a floating cloud. Free and unrestricted, and when body and mind unite, forgetting everything in this world, he realizes that the air beneath his feet is as solid as the earth, and his body is as light as a floating cloud. Those are the cloud footsteps. Ning asked him if he had memorized everything. He replied that he thought yes. Min also told the master that she understood everything, but thought Ning didn't have to teach him that at all. She is very interested in him, but she sees nothing in her eyes that resembles love between a man and a woman. Is it really just genius sympathy for genius? Ning said that her mission would take place in Kunming, and immediately flew off to the mission. Min immediately came out and told the Lord that Ning told him the location of the mission. And it's not too obvious, but she clearly wants him to find her. He said that's even good. He just needs to take the second assignment as soon as possible. Min replied that she didn't mean it. He says he knows what she's talking about. It's just that he admires his sister, but realized that in the end, she would be the one to kill the NPCs in the game. He told her that they will go to the Palm Courtyard tomorrow and see if there are any suitable quests there. Sister Ning is a great student, and he wants to learn her swordsmanship technique. Min replied that she would like to adopt her skill too, but he needs to learn the technique first. He took her by the waist and said easy. He had already trained her. He flew up with her and asked her how does she like that. Min was surprised and replied to the gentleman that he had indeed mastered it so quickly. But how? He replied that he was simply a genius. Min was surprised and wondered. But He said that he had said earlier that he was the best in the world. The girl asked, but how could he not be ashamed? He replied that they were bound forever after all, so let him get used to it. When he came down, he asked, what about the evaluation? Min replied that 99 points, and she's afraid she'll still have to recognize his talent. The elder told the boy that he had a mission here. Would he like to take a look at it? He took it and asked, what is it? Aren't there any lower-level missions? The elder replied to the boy that he had already reached the foundation formation stage, but he was still only performing lower-level missions. Isn't he afraid of being mocked? He replied that the last mission was also a lower-level mission, but Sister Ning said it was much harder, and he still only got 2 points in the end. The guy realized that he would need to go to the demon market and see if there were any items that hid his cultivation level. He didn't want to stand out too much to keep his voice down. Someone might hear him, right? He wondered if it was his fault. He told him to give 4 points for this task, and he would not tell anyone that he was wrong. Otherwise, everyone would know that the pavilion elder was already too old and almost killed a disciple by making a mistake in determining the difficulty of the mission. The elder shut his mouth and replied that he would give him 1 point. People standing nearby saw this and asked, what is it with them? What are they talking about? And the old man began to tell them that they didn't even know how hard his work was. The guy asked his friend, what does he think? They're bargaining. But who's that over there with the elder? A friend replied that this guy from Lushui Peak, who always makes a fool of himself by challenging someone. So nothing is surprising. He told the elder that it's not much, but it's something, and he agreed to go on the mission. The elder thanked him and replied to make him realize that mission came here out of nowhere. He just didn't have time to check it out. He told him to then help him get a decent reward for the task this time. The elder replied that he would do so. The girls walked by the side and said that Brother Chin was already close. But it didn't matter how fast they ran, he still wouldn't even look at them. And there's only room in his heart for Sister Ning. Everyone knows that. He heard Qin Shin's name, but it was just in time for him. He's been wanting to see the main character of this game for a long time, and he thinks he should join in the fun too. But suddenly, he thought that Qin Shin knows that his blood is useful for cultivation. Didn't the Demon King tell him about it? He was the one who targeted him. However, it seems that the Demon King doesn't know his real identity. Otherwise, he would have been exposed as a demon spy long ago. So they don't have any useful information, and the Demon King is just starting to carry out his plan. And it turns out he was just a little late to the cave and couldn't find out where he was hiding. The girls surrounded him and said that it was indeed Brother Qin. They heard that he had accomplished the heavenly mission in just 3 days, and said it was like boy band fangirls. However, he is only interested in Ning's sister. But this flower has a heart, but it doesn't need water to love. The guy suddenly looked over and saw that Sister Ning was also here. Hasn't she left yet? But she's so cold. He is amazed that he can still smile in the face of this ice queen. And Qin Shun is clearly worthy of becoming the next Demon King. A real playboy in the heavenly realm. Ming asked the master if he wished for her to overhear. He replied that there are many cultivators here. Isn't she afraid of being noticed? Min replied that he has a bracelet that suppresses the demonic aura, but hides his energy as well. And besides, she was now his spirit pet, and unless she chose to show herself, only those who had reached cultivation stage 7 would be able to spot her. And as far as she knew, only the elders and sect head had advanced this far in cultivation. He replied that it was fine, but if there was a problem, let him come back right away. Shin suddenly turned to Nurse Ning and said that he hoped that they would be able to complete this task quickly. Ning replied that Brother Qin was very hardworking. He had just finished a heavenly mission, but they had already decided to take the next one. But is he sure he even needs his help? Shin started laughing and replied that after all, he wanted to break through as soon as possible, which was why he took another task. Min at this time was watching and thinking, can't he see that the girl doesn't want to talk to him? Ning said she hoped he would come back in one piece. Shin replied that he was grateful their masters would be fine, and he actually didn't dare to think that Sister Ning, who was always so cold and aloof, would care about him. And if he wins the great competition in 6 months, they'll be even closer. Ming said that this Shin doesn't stand a chance. We have to go back and tell Master everything. Ming told the gentleman that Ning had teamed up with Qin Sheng, but she wasn't too happy about it. And besides, his eloquence is clearly lacking, as well as his intelligence. He thought to himself, in that case, what did the NPCs do to Ning that she sided with none? One idiot outplayed an even bigger idiot. Min asked Master, shouldn't it be time for them to leave? He replied that they have teammates this time. They will meet them at the foot of the mountain. But he needs to buy a few things first. He immediately went to the small shopping street and said here he is. And he proceeded to shop and said that he was buying discounted goods for almost nothing. He said that he even wondered how much stuff he would be able to trade in the demon market. He went to the barrier and said with a sigh that he was already here. But when he saw the boy, he immediately introduced himself and said that he was from Lushui Peak and the Foundation Formation stage. Li Jinshan introduced himself and said that he had heard about him and had read some stories about him and Sister Ning in the news. And you could say he collects them. He realized that Zheng Qingqing had written them. Li asked the guy, it's beautiful, isn't it? And showed him the book. He looked and marveled at the incredible creativity. He and Sister Ning are just studying together. Li Jin held back and started laughing. He said that he actually had a rather high opinion of him, looking forward to the day when the Heaven Realm's chief disciple would be defeated. He realized it was another character with a message and told Sister Li that he thought they should go now. Li Jin replied that it was okay to go. Li Jin said that about 20 of the Wang family's 35 people had already died. This is a real tragedy, and Long Xiangxi is too busy to do such things. That's why he gave it to the students. The last time he was on assignment, he just looked at the case and wrote it down. Li Jin said that she had heard that the Demon King had died, causing the other demons to get out of control and become even more dangerous. Where did that information come from? Li Jin replied that it was from his brothers and sisters. There are many from whom, however, it is only rumors. This time, Sister Ning and Brother Qin's mission is to hunt demons. And considering their strength, it was too early for them to do something like this. He wondered if those ashes were all that was left of him. But then who did Qin Shin make the deal with? Li Jin asked Brother He, what's he hovering about? The guy replied that he was on his way. After opening the doors, they suddenly felt a strong chill. An old man appeared in front of them and asked who they were looking for. He replied that they were disciples from the heavenly realm. and had come to deal with their problem. The old man called them respected celestial masters and motioned for them to pass. Li Jin asked her brother. He replied that it was just a cheap magic weapon from the market, in case it came in handy. Li Jin laughed and said that he was very thoughtful. He said he was just trying to be prepared for anything, but walking next to the girls. One of them was draining strange magic, but they didn't notice. The old man told them that they could rest here for now, and he would go get the master. Hei was surprised and looked after him. Li Jin said that all the maids they met on the way here have black marks. If they don't do anything, many will die. He replied that on his way here, he read the information that the Palm Pavilion provided. So it said that the owner and his wife, as well as their children, live here, but the wife has been bedridden for 6 months, and the daughter had rarely appeared in the past month, and the youngest son had recently died. Hei asked what kind of ghosts and demons had angered this family. Li Jin said that they would first determine where the negative energy was coming from. The compass suddenly started working and immediately pointed at He. Li Jin asked with surprise, "Is the compass pointing to him?" He asked why else would it, but in his mind, he thought she was joking. After all, he is wearing bracelets. He pretended to be calm and asked Master Li, "Her compass broke, didn't it?" He had already started crying and was telling Min that everything was gone. Ming said that as a loyal pet, she would die with him. Li Jin replied that cheap is cheap, but it would be great if it worked out. But she accepted it and said let it be. She bought it for pennies anyway. The head came in and told the boys that they must have been waiting and asked them to forgive him, but had to give the medicine to his wife before she went to sleep. Immediately saw that the compass was pointing at him. But he thought of something else, just how cheap was the fake. Not only does this Master Wang not emit a demonic aura, he can barely keep his spirit in his body. But Li Jin said it's fine. Van said he was sure the two of them were aware of the situation. His family has always been merciful. He doesn't know who they hurt so badly to retaliate against them in this way. He told Master Wang that since his wife was sleeping, why don't they show them to young Miss Wang? Wang suddenly hesitated and stopped. He asked him, "Is there a problem?" The head replied that there were indeed problems, and they were related to his daughter's condition. Li Jin said that they should look at her anyway. They are here to help. If it is a curse or demons, they should know what they are dealing with, and told the boys to follow him. But his daughter has been living in this courtyard since she got sick. But he told Mrs. Li that peaches don't bloom this time of year. That is very strange. The girl replied that yes, there is something strange. The head's daughter was reciting a poem at this time and didn't even pay attention to the others. Wang asked the servant Xiang and Zhu, "Is Madam sick again?" Xiang replied to the gentleman that the lady sings all day long, and it is very scary. Wang said he understood and ordered the two of them to help them in the courtyard. Wang told Master Li and Master He that his daughter has long since lost her mind. Li Jin said that she was also a woman. Why shouldn't she go alone and check on Ms. Wang? The head replied that it would be better that way, and was grateful for the understanding. He told her to be careful. Li Jin replied that she knew. Better let her look around. She might find something else. Li Jin walked into the room and asked Ms. Wang how she was feeling. She is here to help her. But Wang Shuer just spun around and didn't pay any attention to her. Li Jin at this moment couldn't tell if she was possessed or not. Li Jin walked up to her and said, "She has been singing for so long. Is she tired or what? Would she like a drink of water?" Shuer abruptly turned around in her direction and looked with pink eyes. Li Jin suddenly started to feel something and asked. Jin fell to the ground and realized that her legs were suddenly weak. Shuer didn't stop and headed towards her. Jin asked her to calm down, and she's here to help her. Let her come to her senses. But Li Jin thought immediately, why can't she move her body? What is she going to do to her? But Shuer couldn't stop and kept releasing her magic. Jin yelled at her to stop, and she's being controlled by someone. Let her fight back. But Shuer just walked over, and taking her by her clothes, Jin realized that she couldn't make a sound. Jin at this time only hoped for he to come and save her. And would she really have to give her innocence to a woman? He just looked at the trees and thought, were the peach trees' flowers really always this red? But what a familiar feeling. Had he also flown past houses like this before, when he was still playing games? He heard Jin yelling at him to help her. Ming also told the Lord that her sister was in trouble. He didn't stop and immediately ran, thinking that he had to make it in time. He immediately burst into the room with both feet. But he suddenly froze for a few moments and looked at them in surprise. He saw Madam attacking Jin and trying to take advantage of her. He immediately reached out his hand and shouted to Ding Ming that it was time for her to come out. Min replied to the master that she would do it now. She aimed a beam of energy directly at the mistress' head and stunned her completely. He ran to his sister and told her to hold on. He said how hard it was for him and asked her what happened here. But Jin thought it was the end, and he saw everything. What a shame. What was she in for all of this? But Min saw that she was naked and gave her clothes. Jin immediately thanked her. Min said Ms. Lee's body is stiff, like she had too much alcohol. That's why it's so hard. That's why he needs to help her. Min walked up to the Lord and suddenly said, what a fool one would have to be not to understand right away. But Jean thought that it was his spiritual pet. But her aura is much stronger than his, so why is she serving him? He was greatly surprised and asked what? Min replied to him that she was almost naked, and he was looking at her so intently. He said that he just wanted to help after all. Jean suddenly said that she must have fallen under Madame Wang's illusion, so she couldn't move. She thanked him for coming to her rescue, and the feeling of powerlessness really scared her. He started beside her to do something and said that it was all right. It's not hard for him at all. He wrapped her in her clothes and said he would take her to the couch and have Min help her change. Jin thanked Brother He. Headwon came out and apologized for what happened and asked if Master Li was badly hurt. He replied that no. Wang said that he hoped they would put in a good word for her daughter in front of her. He answered him not to worry. It's their job to find out what's wrong and help them. And he fears that an evil spirit has possessed Madame Wang, and its power is based on lust. Wang replied that their family had been pure for generations. Such a real punishment for them. Suddenly, Min came in and said that she had just checked the house. There was an evil aura, but she had not found the source. Suddenly he thought and said there were too many mirrors, and there used to be a quest in the game. It was located on the border of Kunming, and he kept wondering why this place seemed so familiar to him. He remembered the story completely. He said that there was this kind of mirror demon who killed people everywhere. He likes peach blossoms and elegant things. The first step in solving the puzzle is to break almost all the mirrors in the house and force the demon to retreat into one of the remaining ones. He remembered that in the game, it was Ning who had completed this task. But what a coincidence. This time she's on a mission with Sean, so he has to deal with everything himself. At the same time, seeing how strong the demons are, she found a lot of mirrors when she was looking around the mansion, right? The girl replied that she had. Is it because of the mirrors? His wife buys them all the time. He immediately realized that here was the clue. He asked when his wife started buying mirrors. He needs to know the exact date. Ning was on the battlefield at this time and was trying to deal with the enemies by chopping them into small pieces. Ning told Brother Qin that this was the end of their mission. Qin replied that as expected from Lady Yuehua, it was over even without his participation. Qin said, can they go on the next mission? Ning answered him to go first. There was another mission in a town nearby. He would see if they needed help there, and will join him afterwards. Qin said that in that case, he would go with her. Ning replied that he should do as he pleased. He was saying at this time that the mirror demon knew that they had come to deal with him, but he was still targeting Sister Li, and he seemed to have gotten even stronger after absorbing so many people. Isn't he afraid they'll break all the mirrors and he won't be able to hide? He replied that some demons are not as smart as humans. Min told the master that she was about to get angry. He thought that actually, he shouldn't worry too much about this task. It was simple enough and didn't require any special effort. And once again, there are only 2 steps in the mission. Breaking the mirrors is the first step. Even though he missed almost all of the dialogue, he knows that the second step has something to do with the demon's specialty, and that is lust. Ning was able to kill the demon. But what is Madame Wang's role in this case? Why did she suddenly buy so many mirrors? They have to meet her first. Li Jin came in and told her brother that she was feeling better, and the illusion dissipated after Mrs. Wang fell asleep, and she is grateful to him for coming to her rescue. He replied that they were comrades. No need to be grateful. Li Jin said that she noticed that he was using an ordinary iron sword. It is good against ordinary people, but it is no longer suitable for fighting demons. He said that she was right. He just didn't have enough spirit stones to buy a good sword before. That's why he carries this one. Li Jin replied that although you couldn't tell from her, her family were famous sword masters. And if he doesn't mind, let her give him her sword. She will make it much better. He asked, a sword-making family with the surname Li? Li Jin replied that it was fine. He would understand if he didn't want to give her his sword. He said he would love to, and thanked her for offering him that option. Ming also decided to join the conversation and told the gentleman that he was very lucky. Li Jin replied to the guy that she was off then. Suddenly, Min came out and said that she knew Li's last name was familiar to her. He was surprised and asked. Min replied that this family was known for its members being able to create divine weapons, even with entry-level cultivation. But how could the Lord not know that? He replied that compared to that, although he was her master, she was a bit over the top. Min said she can't help herself. She just wants to be as close to her master as possible. She can't even imagine why she's so attracted to his body. He is their spiritual pet and will always be there for them. And if he finds a wife, she will never leave them. She has nothing to be ashamed of. He needs to get used to it. But they'd better come to an agreement. When he is in the shower, she is forbidden to take on human form. Otherwise, she will only be in the way. Min says she can't control herself. Either he releases her from her contract, so she can gain her freedom and go kill his precious Ning, or he's just getting used to the company of his pet. And in fact, many monks live with their pets, and said that it seemed like a spirit pet had been craving her body for a long time. Min suddenly immediately replied that no. She told him to stop bullying her. It's not fair. And she turned into a bracelet. Qin and Ning stood in front of the doors. The guy said that the demon's aura wasn't too strong. They might as well deal with it themselves. But behind them came Li and said Brother Qin and Sister Ning that it was really them. The girl asked the Ning if they could take them with them. She would like to learn from them. The girl called Zhang Ninger was the granddaughter of Zhuyang Peak Master and thought that when she heard that Sister Ning had come to this city on a mission, she hurriedly finished hers and followed her. She is so happy. And Brother Qin is here too. Ning replied to her that she didn't mind. They were both happy and realized that this task was worth it. Qin said that Sister Ning has quite a few admirers, and yes, he admires her as well. He would like to spar with them once they are done here. Ning said that the competition is still 5 months away, so he'd rather wait. Ning knocked on the door, and suddenly the door opened. The old man opened and asked her, was there someone she was looking for? Ning replied that she was a disciple from the heavenly realm. They heard that the Wang family was in trouble. The old man greeted them respectfully and invited them into the building. And this morning their brother and sister had just arrived. He walked over to Madame Wang at this time and apologized for disturbing their peace at such a late hour. Why did she suddenly decide to buy mirrors? Mistress asked. Was there something wrong with them? He replied that he was merely curious, as they had considerably more of them than ordinary houses. The mistress said that she had just dreamed of a fairy, and the fairy said that if there were more mirrors in the house, it would help his husband make a lot of money. Wang said it was true. Since they bought the mirrors, their family had made a lot of money. But they had lost a lot too. He asked her if she remembered what happened before this dream. Madame replied that she was to the Yuying Temple in the south of the city to decide on her daughter's wedding. And they say it is the most suitable place. He said that's what it meant, and he thanked that she was able to give him her time and let her continue to rest. And they may not see him off. He'll just go back to his room. He decided that he would have to check everything out there. Suddenly, an old man came up and told him that their companions were waiting for them in the front room. He immediately realized that Ning and Qin were also here. Just as it was in the game, he immediately entered the room and said hello to Ms. Ning. Ning immediately turned around and said that he was the one who took the mission, and asked him what had been learned. He replied that he was just about to go to Yuying Temple in the south of the city. Ning said she would go with him, but Qin said that he would stay here this time. He suddenly thought, shouldn't he stay close to Ning? Was Qin really up to something? He told Min that she would stay here and watch him, but only discreetly. If anything happens, immediately have her come to him. Min replied that she understood, but Qin at this time saw that this kid was still clinging to her. It's even good for them to be together. He had almost gotten what he wanted. Who knew that Sister Ning would decide to take this mission? We must get rid of her as soon as possible. He suddenly stopped and looked into Qing Yu's eyes. Ning started walking already and asked did something happen? Or did he change his mind about going to Yuying Temple? Ninger walked up after that Qing Yu and asked, isn't that the loser that keeps pestering Sister Ning? Li said she even addressed him by name. Ninger said that Sister Ning and Brother Qin are traveling together after all, and this jerk dared to stop them. Li replied that he has been cultivating for so many years, but he has never progressed beyond the first stage. He has absolutely no talent at all, and all he does is loaf around. Sooner or later, Qin said that they were all from the same school, so one should be lenient towards such people. And besides, since he was able to take this task, it meant that he had already broken through to the next stage. Didn't they notice his aura? Nian'er replied that even if he managed to reach the base formation, he's still a loser, and he won't like it, but all women are extremely soft-hearted. Previously, Sister Ning really disliked he, but this time, she even called him by his name, which meant that they had become much closer. Qin said that last time, Sister Ning had only helped a weaker fellow sect member. No need to get ahead of herself. He realized that Ning was his woman. No one could take her away. her spiritual body. Ninger said that when he returns, she will take the chance to challenge him to embarrass himself in front of Ning's sister. He suddenly started sneezing and wouldn't stop. Ning told him that if he had a cold, he'd better go back. Ning decided to go ahead and kept her distance from brother He. And he hoped hard that he wouldn't turn into a dog today. Otherwise, the consequences would be simply catastrophic. And he imagined Ning chasing after him with sharp knives. Ning suddenly turned around and asked him why he was walking so far away. He replied that he was just scrutinizing the area. That's why he was going slow. Ning said that she didn't expect him to go to Kunming on his next assignment. She thought they wouldn't see each other for a while. How has his training been since she left? Hei asked. She wants to know how his progress has been. Ning replied that of course she wanted to. Hei said that he had completely mastered the technique. The girl was surprised at how quickly he learned everything. Ning said that if he had learned the technique so quickly, why hadn't he made such progress before? Hei replied that better late than never, right? He thought about it and couldn't imagine what was in the NPC's head. Apparently, according to the game's storyline, it wasn't supposed to have a brain. He said that in addition to his sister personally teaching him, there was no way he could let her down. He realized that the most important thing was to learn how to move quickly, so that he could immediately take off when he completed all 4 tasks. Ning told the guy that he knows she has Yin's physique. After all, that's why he's trying to get close to her. Is he that he wants to get close to her and engage in steamy cultivation to become stronger? She's right, isn't she? He pondered at that moment. Where did she even get those thoughts from? And it seemed to him that there had been a misunderstanding of planetary proportions. Ning said he didn't think so. You can't fool the human subconscious mind. And it's time for them to go to Ying Temple. He saw in her that she was the heroine who killed the NPCs in the game. He wouldn't dare. They didn't knock and just walked to the end of the hall and stood in front of the statues. Ning said what a well-maintained temple this is. Someone must be keeping an eye on the place. But there isn't even a watchman here. He suddenly told Ning that that statue was holding a mirror. Ning asked him if he was sure it was a mirror demon. He replied that yes, it must be him. But he doesn't understand how he is related to Ying. And she doesn't feel any demonic aura either. He realized that he couldn't just take it and say that he'd been through the game and remembered the story a little. Ning looked at it and said that really, it was nothing to do with the incense. And that's exactly what's so strange. But suddenly Hei felt something and shouted to his sister to be careful. Behind Ning was a dragon that was heading in her direction to devour her whole. But Ning wasn't confused either and immediately jumped up to avoid the dragon hitting her. Ning pulled out her sword and said, "This is the spirit python Chi Yu. It's a demon equal to a human cultivator of the 3rd stage." But he remembered that Li Jin still had his sword. But looking at the size of the snake, he didn't believe that the snake only reached the core sphere. He shouted to Ning that there was something wrong with this python. An aura almost at the level of a nascent stage cultivator is emanating from it. It's a demonic soul nucleation realm. Ning was suddenly surprised and asked what? But the snake walked beside her and immediately slapped it from its tail. Ning was wounded and could not move. But the snake didn't leave her like that and pounced on him with his sharp teeth. Ning realized that she wouldn't be able to dodge or even run away. But he just stood in her defense and used his fire attack. He said that it was fortunate that he had found the immortal radiance before he came here. After all, if Qin had taken it earlier, he would have been in big trouble. Hei went up to his sister and asked her how he was. But suddenly he felt something he didn't understand, for he had awakened feelings of biting her. He had already leaned against her neck and wanted to bite, but he tried to stop himself. But coming into his own image, he asked himself, what was he even doing? He grabbed his head and realized that this urge had come on so suddenly that he could barely contain himself. But the snake was not yet defeated and came to fight once more and defend his home. He took Ning's sword and told the sword that if it didn't want its mistress to die, the sword suddenly trembled and gave him permission. He said as he agreed so quickly. He immediately went into battle and realized that if this python had reached the soul nucleation stage, it was stronger than him, but he's protected by the immortal radiance, so he can't harm him. Besides, Ning has a magic sword, the Dream Lotus. He jumped out of the serpent and decided to use an attack. But he realized that with this, he could win. He used the moment true, and in the last moment before the serpent's teeth, he made the strongest attack of this sword, and wiping the blood thought he would die in the battle. He never imagined that he would make a breakthrough right in the middle of the battle. The guy said that the soul transformation realm in demons was equivalent to the core formation stage in humans. He's still weaker than Ning. At this stage, It would be more difficult to improve, but the chance of survival would also increase. He walked over to Ning and thought, what should he do now? Taking Ning back to the Wang family is not an option. She's passed out and he doesn't have a scratch on him. It would be too hard to explain. But he doesn't want to reveal to everyone that he has immortal radiance. Suddenly, Ming came in and turned to the Lord saying that Qin had begun to act. Min turned around and said with surprise that she could see he had already dealt with the enemy. He replied, that's great. She's just in time. Let her take care of Nurse Ning while he's away. But Min replied that she can't. Although he is her master, but she is constantly hunting and killing demons. She is very scared. She doesn't want to touch it, but Min suddenly saw something on her neck and touched it. He asked her why she was touching an unconscious girl like an old pervert. Min replied to him that he had misunderstood, and she thinks she has reached her limit and is ready for a breakthrough. However, because of her condition, she is afraid she might have a problem. He was surprised and asked, a breakthrough at such a moment? How could such a thing be possible? Min replied that every time a cultivator broke through, he would face his inner demons and defeat them, thus increasing his limit. But now she's in a coma and can't do it. And if his sister doesn't break through soon, she'll be stuck at this level forever. He began to panic and said that this couldn't be allowed to happen. Min replied that it was the perfect opportunity, after all. That way she wouldn't know he was a demon wolf and wouldn't be able to kill him. He said that she helped with the mission, trained him, and even almost became his master. That's not right. Let him tell her how he can help her. Min replied that although she was against it, there was something she could try. He immediately realized that from the looks of it, it was something unusual. Min said that it could be said to be pair cultivation. He replied that it's more like Russian roulette. Is she trying to kill him? And when Ning wakes up, she'll immediately kill him too. Min said that's why she didn't want to tell him. So why is he angry? He replied that because it's outrageous. He's not a eunuch, and she's offering to do steamy cultivation with her. He asked if there was any other way. Let her say there is. Min replied that there are indeed other options. He's the heir to a clan of demon wolves. His blood could help the humans in a breakthrough. It's the most obvious option. He replied that he understood, and a little bit of his blood would be beneficial to her body and mind. And he realized that it was no wonder Qin wanted his blood. Min suddenly said that she didn't recommend resorting to this method, because if he lost too much blood, it would take him a very long time to recover. He picked up his sword and replied to her that even if it takes a long time, he will still be back to normal sooner or later. Either way, he was glad to be around. He immediately cut his hand with his sword and presented his hand to her lips and released his blood, and said that he was too nice to Ning. Sooner or later, he would have to leave the heavenly realm anyway, so why bother? He covered her mouth and replied that since his blood was so good, let her try it too. Maybe she would feel better. Min tasted some, and her eyes immediately changed color, and she wanted more and more. He said it's just wolf blood, not an aphrodisiac. Let her control herself. Min replied that it was not an aphrodisiac. However, that was even better. She's not the only one who craves his blood. He realized that everyone wanted to take his beautiful body. Is his blood really that valuable? And he lay beside her the whole time. Ning suddenly came to her senses and clutched her hands to her mouth. She felt at once that she was ready for a breakthrough. She had no idea that because of the python it would come so soon. And unfortunately, this isn't the right place to be. Min started shouting to the master and said that Ning was awake. He asked his sister, is she feeling better? Ning replied that she felt like she was about to break through. He told her not to worry. He would protect her. Ning asked her brother if he was okay. He replied that he was fine. His legs were just stiff from sitting for so long. Don't let her worry. But in fact, he realized that he hadn't lost much blood, and he was already dizzy. Min told the master not to forget. Oh, Qin. He replied that he remembers. They'll be back as soon as she breaks through. Ning was very happy and surprised that he was protecting her, and He hoped she wouldn't suspect anything. Suddenly, Min told the gentleman that they would go back now while it was over. He asked with surprise. Ming replied that she completely forgot to say Qin had something to do with that mirror demon. He was shocked and asked what? How is this even possible? And Ming replied that she also forgot to say that Wang Shuer was still in danger. He remembered that in the game, Ning didn't know what Qin was really like. After all, he had tricked her and forced her to leave the sect, and now he has to tell her about it. But he's afraid she might get the wrong idea. Better to catch him red-handed. Ning was at a breakthrough and suddenly started making strange sounds. He was thinking at this time, why did Qin even agree to this assignment? Was it really to his advantage? Half an hour later, Ning came to her senses and said that she had blown up to the first stage of soul nucleation. Hei said congratulating his sister. Ning stood up and thanked him for protecting her. Ning saw that he really didn't realize how important this was to him. She asked him, was he the one who killed that python? Hei replied that he had only borrowed a dream lotus from her. He is very concerned about his mistress. Plus, he has improved his skills a bit more recently. Ning said she understood, and thought that even with her sword, he is only at the foundation formation level, so he must be hiding something. Hei also felt that his sister suspected him. Min told him that it was no big deal. When he gets stronger, he'll just say he was pretending to be a tiger. He replied that it was the only way out. Ning suddenly used her strength and pulled the crystal out of the serpent's head. Ning said it was the core of a demonic python. It could be used to enhance weapons, and he was the one who killed it, so it belongs to him. Hei asked his sister, could a purple crystal fall from a python? Ning replied that the maximum you could get out of such a beast was a blue crystal. So this python was much stronger than its kin. He said that Madame Wang said that she started buying mirrors after she came to this temple and had a dream. But what does this have to do with the python? Ning replied that maybe it was a mirror demon's pet. It was fed with human essence to reach its current level. That would explain a lot of things. Hei suddenly hesitated and froze. Ning asked her brother, where is his pet? A fox that likes to cut off men's manhood. Hei showed the bracelet and replied that she was here and asked what was wrong. Ning replied that she was afraid she had bewitched him. Min asked why she felt like her words were full of contempt. Hei replied that he sees the same thing. Arriving at the clan, the old man told the boys that the other masters had already gone to bed, and he would see to their rest. Li Jin stood in the way and was happy that they had finally returned. And she wants to sleep too, right? Li Jin told brother He that he didn't warn him that he would continue with the task, so she had to speed up. He replied that Nurse Ning had come and offered to look around, and he didn't want to disturb her. Li Jin greeted Sister Ning and told brother He that she made this sword especially for him. If he doesn't like something, just let him just say so. She pulled out the sword and said it was endowed with the attribute of water, though the sword was originally fire. So she had to do a bit of work. She made some changes, so now its level is about rare. Ming asked the master, is Li Jin really the Li family heiress that everyone is talking about? He replied that it was still an ordinary iron attribute sword. Compared to the Dream Lotus, it's almost twice as bad. And if it's only half as weak as Ning's sword, it's already an incredible blade. He took the sword and replied that it was just something. Li Jin said that this is just her gratitude for that day. She is happy that he likes it. Ning was really bored with this conversation and said she was going to bed. Li Jin asked why Nurse Ning was so upset. In the evening in the room, Min asked the Lord how long he was going to admire his new sword. He hugged the sword and replied that he doesn't even know, just can't stop. He's so awesome. And if he gave the demon crystal to Li Jinshan tomorrow and asked her to meld it, wouldn't she think that he was asking too much? Min asked Master, didn't he bring a lot of human things with him? Why don't they go to the demon market today? There's a swordsmith from the demon clan. For him, melting a demon's crystalline core is a piece of cake. He replied that he thought it was a good idea. Immediately afterward, they traveled to the demon world. Walking into the room, Min shouted to her sisters. They asked her if there were many handsome guys in the realm of humans. Are they really as beautiful as the prince? And is it true that all human cultivators hate demons? Min replied to them to stop talking. Hei told her to rest for now, and he would go for a walk. The children asked their sister if they too could become the master's pet. Hei set off and said he had to find the forge first. Upon arriving at the forge, he asked if there was anyone. Zhang San, the demonic red dog blacksmith, immediately turned around to him. He said that he wanted to melt the purple demonic crystal. Sam replied that it would cost 50 medium spirit stones. Hei opened his sack and asked if it was possible to repay this. Sam was surprised and replied that of course. Sonya started going through and said there's a lot of goodness here, a real treasure trove, and when he saw the ball, he asked if he could take it. Hei replied that of course, and he didn't realize it could be exchanged for 50 medium stones. That's a great deal. Turning around, he saw that people had gathered behind him and were telling him that they had an orange pill to temper him. Hei listened to them and said that he would be back soon, so no need to worry. He had enough for everyone, and get their stuff ready. Everyone immediately gathered at length, and he was telling them to take their time. He would look at everything now. A few hours passed, and Hei began to shout for joy that he was rich. In opening the sack, he decided to look at the catch. He took out a vessel from his bag and realized that it could absorb everything, including enemy attacks and heaven and earth energy. He decided it was just perfect for storage. And he was already too rich. He was even able to obtain the Ghost Breath Talisman. He alone was worth coming here. San came out and told the gentleman that everything was ready. He could check everything out. He replied that it wasn't bad. San asked the gentleman if he could ask him one thing. He replied that of course he could speak. San asked the gentleman if he could throw him a ball. He and he are both dog people. It's been so long since he's played with anyone, and replied that of course. He realized that no dog could resist the ball. It was even a little embarrassing. He prepared himself and said that he was about to throw and let San get ready. He threw his sword forward, and San immediately ran. He saw that they were both of the dog kind, but unlike him, he couldn't help himself and chased after the ball as well. The next morning, he gathered everyone and said that he and Sister Lee must first break the mirrors to prevent the demon from escaping. When Qin does something again, like making a ruckus to distract Sister Ning, have him inform him. He's not just here to catch that demon. Ning said that in that case, Brother Wang and Sister Zhang, they would go with her. Zhang replied to her sister that of course, why shouldn't she join them too? What if something happened to them? He will stay here and look after Miss Wang though, so they could be at ease. Ning replied that that was what they would do then, and realized he's a sly one. He's definitely up to something. Even though he doesn't know it, he curses him. Qin rejoiced because everyone had finally left, and after he absorbed the mirror demon essence, then the probability of breaking through to the next stage would increase manifold. Even though Sister Ning is around, but he'll be done soon, and she won't know anything about it. At this time, Min stayed behind and watched him the whole time. Min didn't like this assignment and saw all the scandals, intrigue, investigations, and not enough wine and melon seeds. But Qin didn't act and sat down to cultivate for forgiveness. Suddenly, his spirit moved right into the mirror. Zhang told Sister Ning that they broke all the mirrors except the one in Wang Shui's room. They turned around and heard something. Zhang immediately ran and said that the noise was coming from Qin's direction, and it seems that he had caught a mirror demon. He didn't stop either and ran at the noise and thought they would have to visit the abode of lust. Ning was the fastest and entered the room with both feet, but she saw Qin lying on the floor unconscious. He came in too, and Min turned into a bracelet. She told the master that she just pushed this guy to make him rumble. Did she do everything right? She will get her reward in the evening. Ning walked over to Brother Qin and saw him lying down and not moving. Wang said his soul is out of his body, and he thinks he's fighting a mirror demon. He tells Wang that he's actually right. He is in the mirror, but he is definitely not fighting. Zhang looked at the mirror and suddenly started screaming. Zhang was suddenly surprised and wondered what Brother Qin was doing. Ning asked her, what is it? Let her show her too. But Zhang tucked the mirror behind her back and replied that it was no big deal. Ning was pushy and told her to show her. Zhang held out the mirrors and said that he definitely had some reason. And then Ning saw something scary. Zhang started to change her mind and said that this could be his plan. Li Jin asked, what kind of plan is it to do such a thing? And she thinks Brother Qin is enjoying himself wholeheartedly. It's disgusting to even look at. But Ning didn't dare this to continue and used her strength to smash all the mirrors. In the end, there was one mirror left, and summoned Qinya out of the mirror and into a real body. Qin came to his senses and talked about why he came back. Ning asked him if he wanted to explain something. Qin suddenly wondered, why is she here? And he saw all the warriors surrounding him from different directions. He realized they were all here, and this wasn't supposed to happen. He grabbed his chest and felt the pain. The connection with the mirror demon had been interrupted, and his soul was affected. He was one step away from the core formation stage. Ning told Qin that she saw what he was doing in the mirror, and when they return, she will report everything to the master. Qin realized that she had seen everything. He approached Sister Ning and asked her to listen to him. He only wanted to subdue the mirror demon. Ning said she knew, and she saw him sucking out his essence. The mirror demon had absorbed countless human essences, and he decided to take advantage of that to break through to the next stage. And that's pretty much the same as being a demon. Yes, and he knows it himself. Qin realized that the chance given to him by the elder had been lost, and now Sister Ning hates him. How did this even happen? Ning came to Shuir and told her people to protect her, and she would deal with the mirror demon herself, and let them follow the mirror, and no need to let the demon use the light to escape into the pond outside. And the surface of the water could be a hiding place for him. He replied that he would do anything. He saw that the plan had worked. As it was in the game, Ning would be the one to destroy the mirror demon. and it looks like some key points can't be changed that easily. And then he should complete all the tasks and escape as soon as possible. Ning shifted into spirit and headed to the mirror. Li Jin said that she would be able to see her sister fighting a demon with her own eyes. Such a chance is very rare. The demon immediately sensed that he wasn't alone here, and Ning immediately started fighting him and launching her strong attacks. The demon tried to escape into the other mirror, but suddenly he stopped and realized he was blocking his escape route. Ning had already approached him and immediately kicked him in the head with her foot. The demon started screaming and begging her to spare him. Ning asked him if that python was his pet, but the demon didn't answer and just asked her to spare his life. But she was angry and told him to answer when asked. The demon replied that yes, it was his python. It guards his home, Yuing Temple. It was born from that bronze mirror. Immortal, he told her everything. Maybe she will spare him. Ning replied that he had killed so many people, and now he wanted her to let him live. The demon turned to her once more and said he was begging. But Ning did not spare him and simply cut his head open. Li Jin said at this time, Sister Ning didn't even hesitate for a second. Wow, that's real resilience. He was scared at this moment and thought that when she found out his real identity, she would probably kill him right away. He even felt scared. Ning walked out of the mirror and said goodbye, saying that he could now return to the celestial realm to complete the task. Schwer suddenly came to her senses as well and asked what had happened to her. Ning answered her that she was just sick. But it's all over now. He saw that Ning and looked like a goddess of death, but when it came to demons, she was always kind to the defenseless. So he should pretend to be weak and helpless, too. What could be better than that? Schwer said that she was glad then. Master Wang thanked them all for their help and invited them to dinner. However, Ning declined, saying that she had a task to complete. Ning said bluntly that she hadn't finished her mission yet, so let them return first. Qin suddenly told his sister that he would go with her. Ning replied to him that he had behaved unworthily, so he should return home and go into seclusion to rethink his actions. And with that, she bade them farewell. The next day, he sat in the room and said that there were 3 divine level artifacts, 5 holy level and heavenly level, and 6 grand like everything else. Let Min write it down like that. But suddenly he took the balls in his hands and said some obscure pills, 15 vials. Min asked with surprise, incomprehensible pills? She thought he should still separate them according to their effectiveness. Otherwise, he might not be able to take it if the effect is too strong. He told her that she could keep some for herself and let her sell the ones with medium effect. And they can get at least 10,000 liang of silver. And then he'll buy her some dresses. And he knows she likes them. And he still had 4 points for the second quest, medium quality spirit stones, and more of these treasures. A bright future is just around the corner. What does the master mean by that? He replied that it means getting rich and prosperous. Min was surprised and said that the Lord really knows what to say to a girl, and he had promised the other day that he would reward her, but he seemed to have forgotten all about it. He said she can take whatever she wants. Now he's rich. Min replied that she is his spirit pet. If he gets stronger, so will she. She doesn't want any of that bling. She just wants some of his life essence. He told her to just not get carried away. Min said she wouldn't dare. Losing even a single drop of essence would weaken him for days. Could she go for something like that? She would just try it for a little while. He replied that he understood, and she had bailed him out more than once, so it wouldn't take anything away from him. Min immediately felt good and bit his neck. Min began to rejoice and enjoy, saying that the Lord's essence was truly delightful. He said that he was beginning to think that all demonic foxes were real fox spirits. Min asked the gentleman what he was talking about. It goes like this. Fox spirits are the best. They take care of their masters and keep them warm in winter. He told her to stop talking. He's really tired these days, so he needs to rest. Tomorrow, he'll have to practice again and take another assignment. Min enjoyed herself and wished her master good night, and she would take care of him while he slept. Ning was on a mission, and there were strong people in front of her. She even said it was the end and directed her attack at them. The enemies were greatly surprised after they saw that she was very strong. But there was little time for them to escape, for they were cut to pieces. The guy asked her what did they do to her. Ning replied that they were all demons and should die. But suddenly a monster came up behind her and tried to punch her and told her to die. But Ning reacted quickly and jumped out of the way, so she wouldn't get hit. Suddenly, she said, something hit her in the eye. Ning said that even if a demon can talk like a human, it's still a demon. They should all be wiped off the face of the universe. The monsters surrounded her from different directions and set out to kill her. But Ning used a magic circle with which she destroyed them all. The guy told her not to be so arrogant. Their master had already turned his eyes on her. But Ning did not let him speak further and cut off his head. At this time in Qin's chambers, he was telling the elder that the events of the past month were quite strange, and all the opportunities he had given him were wasted. If it had been an isolated incident, nothing critical would have happened. But all at once, it's really hard to believe. What about Liao Xin? How are things going for her? Qin replied, equally unsuccessfully, and he was obsessed with Ning. He was clearly driven by lust. Liao Xin was extremely beautiful, yet he didn't even look at her when she threw herself at him. And he has a feeling that he has completely changed recently. He's pulled away from Ning and even broke through to the next stage. The elder thought for a moment and said that he understood. Qin remembered and also added that on top of that, he had been injured during the mission, which further distanced him from reaching the Golden Core stage. But the worst part was that he sensed Ning's aura. She had already broken through to the 4th stage. At this rate, the gap between them would only widen, and the chance of becoming her Tao partner would completely disappear. The elder said no, he must do it. Her jade spirit body would help him achieve immortality. He must win her trust by any means necessary. Easier said than done. He can control who she sympathizes with. The elder told him not to worry. He would help him with that, and have him come in to see him in a little while. And don't forget the back door. No one must see him. He's got some pills to help him regain his strength. And bodies are the basis of perfection. It must be in perfect condition. Qin replied that he understood the order. Min was sitting in a tree at this time, watching Qin's house. Suddenly, he came out, and she said that finally the rat came out of its hole. Min decided to follow him and see where he was going. She noticed that this guy was sneaking around like a thief. He's obviously up to something. Min saw him come instead and swept up that she needed to stay as close to him, but as she tried to walk through, she ran into a barrier and was in a lot of pain. She asked, "Is this the back door of the Star Pavilion? Isn't this the residence of the sect head?" In fact, she didn't even realize they had come here. "We need to tell the master as soon as possible." Qin sneaked into the clan head's residence. This is very interesting. And is the demon king really hiding in the Star Pavilion? He was talking to Qing, and she showed him the book and asked his opinion about it. Qing replied that it was a draft of the latest Mystic Chronicles. He could consider that he had been given a great honor. Maybe she could read him Mystery Chronicles issue 138. Hay closed the book and said she shouldn't do that. He is so ashamed that he is willing to dig a hole and bury himself in it with his head. Qing asked, "What's the big deal?" News is just a mixture of truth and fiction. She gathered his story bit by bit and turned them into an article, also that everyone can enjoy this masterpiece. He said that maybe the others would like it, but he would probably already be killed by Sister Ning then. Qing replied that this would not be the case. Despite her stern appearance, Sister Ning almost never attacks her fellow students outside of the competition. He asked, "Almost never?" Qing replied that there are exceptions to every rule, and it was getting pretty late, so she went to bed. Qing said that, "Brother, he is a rising star of the heavenly realm. May he not forget them when he becomes famous and rich." But he realized that he was only famous because of her writing. And after she left, he thought, why do all the locals like to gossip so much? Min suddenly came up behind him and hugged him. Hay took her hand and said that she had already returned. Min said she had good news. She deserved an award. Hay told her to tell her what she learned first, and then they would discuss it. Min said, "That's good. But seriously, she thinks she's found where the Demon King is hiding." He immediately closed all the doors and told her to tell her everything. Min replied that she followed Qin and saw him sneaking into the Star Pavilion through the back door. And he kept looking around, and she's afraid someone will notice him. Hay asked, "Doesn't the sect leader live in the Star Pavilion?" And she wants to say that's where the Demon King is hiding. Min replied that no, she believes that the sect leader is the Demon King. The only question is how he was able to replace him. Hay asked her why she thought that. Min replied that the Star Pavilion was surrounded by a barrier that only affected non-humans. And maybe it's done to protect the chapter, but it seems to her that the barrier is meant to detect demons and other races. And the sect leader hasn't shown his face in public for quite some time now, hasn't he? And they say he's in seclusion, but then why would he let Qin in? She doesn't have hard evidence, but if you think back to those ashes they found in the cave, she's right. It needs to be carefully considered. Min asked, "And if that's the way it is, what will he do? Maybe we should tell Neen about it. She hates all demons and will do everything in her power to eliminate their king." Hay replied that he wasn't that close to her. If he didn't have 100% proof, she would start suspecting him already. And at least now they know that the Demon King and the sect leader are somehow connected. And they need to gather as much evidence as they can before telling Ning everything. And besides, he wants to understand what the Demon King is up to. Even though he missed most of the game's plot, he still remembers that his first goal is to capture Qin and become Ning's Dao partner in order to break through to the next stage. And he thinks that right now, he wants to make Qin as strong as possible so that he can capitalize on it later. Ming is already tired of waiting and said it's reward time. He replied for her to come to the bed, and only one sip. Otherwise, he'd get dizzy again for half a day if she drank too much. Ming got very excited and told the Lord that he was so kind to her. Immediately, she clung to his neck with her teeth. 2 days later at the Yin Peak Master's residence, Yin Ning told the Master that she had returned. Master turned around and said that she thought she would be gone longer. Ning replied that she had broken through to the Golden Core stage, so she was able to get there much faster. And in the places mentioned, all the demons have been killed. Master said what was expected of her apprentice. The Master started caressing her and said that she was about to see if her precious student had lost weight. Ning replied to the Master to behave herself. Master started laughing and saw her stern look. It looked exactly as she once did. Then why is she so carefree now? She was beginning to think that all her stories about the past were fiction. The Master replied that it was a secret, and while she was away, new gossip came out, and she became fascinated by these mystical chronicles. She might even pick up on it. There's a lot of racy details in there. She especially liked the part about her and Hey. Ning looked and asked, "Are they on the cover?" Suddenly, she opened a conversation with the Master about transferring he to their peak. The Master replied that it was a breeze. If her student was interested in someone, so was she. Besides, it was very rare for her to pay such close attention to someone. Ning said that he is really very talented. His potential is even higher than hers. The Master was surprised and replied that she was even more interested now. Let her bring him to her sometime so she could play with him. Ning told the Master to stop scaring the other students, and she goes back to her chambers. He needs to rest. Qin came to her brother's door and knocked. He told his sister that he swears he has nothing more to tell her. He valued his life, and she has come 7 or even 8 times in the last few days. And he asked her to leave him alone. And now whenever he goes out, everyone looks at him very strangely. Qing told him that she came to tell him that Sister Ning had returned. And how does she always manage to keep up with the latest news? Qing replied that a good journalist doesn't give away her sources. He realized that she might as well be called a paparazzi. Qing said that she was just gathering material for the new issue. And besides, he used to like Sister Ning before, right? Then why not take the chance and make a move? He closed the door and said he was going to sleep and wished her a good night. Qing wished him good luck and will keep her fists up for him. He sighed and said that she was finally gone. But suddenly he felt something and thought, why did it suddenly feel so hot? Min suddenly came out of the bracelet and revealed her appearance. She told the Master that he was about to break through again. In the chambers of Yi's house, he suddenly felt so bad that he even clutched his chest. Min was nearby and immediately turned to him, but he couldn't stop his transformation into a wolf and turned completely. Min told him not to worry. She had already put a barrier around this room, and he could concentrate on the breakthrough in peace. He answered her with his thanks. Suddenly, he started to agonize even more and fell to the floor with all his paws. He replied that he felt like he couldn't break through. Something was in his way. Min asked him what is going on. She asked him if he had done anything unusual today or taken some kind of pill. Why the sudden breakthrough? But suddenly she looks closely and says his eyes have changed. And he asks him not to scare her. Let him say something. But he couldn't say anything to her and showed more of his aggressive gaze. Ming thought, is this a rejection of Qi? Min tried to touch him, but He couldn't control himself. He didn't stay at home and immediately ran outside. Min was scared for him. Min on the road asked him where he's going, and she asked him if he should stop. He hadn't stopped all this time and was still running. Ming told him that if his Qi started to reject, so should his. This was all too strange. After all, nothing had portended trouble. He inside the wolf's body was in a lot of pain and said that he was in pain. And he can't believe he did that to Min. Suddenly, he saw a bright light in front of him. He wondered and wondered what that glow ahead was. But it turned out to be much worse. Nin appeared in front of him and called him baby. But he didn't stop and started growling. Min saw that it was Madam Ning as well. Would she really reveal the master now? Ning stopped him and asked what was wrong with him. He couldn't concentrate. What was going on with him? He wanted to bite someone, his teeth were aching. Ning said that now he was back to being a dirty doggy again. She took him in her arms and told him it was her and not to be afraid. He suddenly began to calm down and felt firm and soft. Min wondered and thought, is this really possible right in the middle of a breakthrough? Could it be that the master smelled the Jade's spirit body and lost control? However, that doesn't make any sense. Ning held him in her arms and told the baby that he missed her so much that he went a little crazy, and she felt the baby was on fire. But it didn't matter to Min anymore, and as long as Ning was around, nothing would happen to the master. As soon as he was back to normal, she would find out what had gone wrong. Is he really breaking through? And if he was, then she would guard him until he was done. No need to worry. Ning realized that since brother he had protected her during the breakthrough, it would be fair for her to do the same for this doggy. He started sucking up to her and showed even his tears. But Ning told him not to be afraid. She's not going anywhere. Min looked at all of this and told the Lord that she was starting to feel like he had planned all of this just to make Ning feel sorry for him. Hours passed, but Hei was still lying on Ning's lap and she was still stroking him. But Min didn't leave the two of them and woke up saying how she wanted to sleep, but she wondered how the master was doing. Looking at the gentleman, she was greatly surprised and said that he had gotten bigger. And it was the first time she had ever seen such a thing. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and saw Min's head in front of him. He was frightened and even began to tremble. Hei asked her why she was so close and what's wrong with her face. It's like she's looking through a fish eye. Min replied to the master that he had grown, and it seems to her that he was able to break through to the core formation stage, and it was like skipping an entire stage of transformation. He was also surprised and couldn't understand how this could happen. Ning also felt someone walking beside her, and opening her eyes said that the baby was already awake. She petted him and said that he had done well and was a very good boy. And spirit beasts always feel weak after a breakthrough, so he would stay with her for now. Hei started yelling at Min to get her to help him. There's no way he can't be with her. He's been through this before. She must not see him in human form. Min replied to the master that Ning's chambers are near her master's residence. She can't take such a risk, and wished him good luck. Hei was surprised that Min had ditched him, and wondered what would happen if he suddenly reincarnated back. Arriving at Ning's chamber, she would tell the baby that they would clean their paws first, and then they could go to bed, and saw that it was as if she was a mother talking to her child. Ning made a place for him and told him it was time for bed. Hei lay down on the bed like a human and raised his paws. But suddenly Ning said that spirit beasts need gland expression, and she doesn't think he's ever secreted them. And if he gets too excited, he could splatter all over the place. He wondered and thought, what is she up to? And that sounds too sinister. He's a grown man, and his back door belongs to him alone. Ning started laughing after Hei hid under the blanket. She changed her clothes and said the robe was so comfortable, and was surprised at how beautiful she was. Ning lay down next to her and said she would read him a story and then go to bed. Hei started listening to what she was reading and saw that it was an edition of Mythical Chronicles, and he wondered why she was even interested in this gossip. Ning looked at him and said that Master had told her to read. He was surprised and suddenly thought that she could already read minds. Ning said that this time the story would be about Hei challenging his elder, and Ning didn't fight back. He got very angry and said what an exciting start. Ning suddenly started laughing. She said that she felt Qing's style. She has a pretty good imagination. He thought, what kind of good imagination? Does she even know what she's saying? Ning told the baby that he had already reached the core formation stage, meaning he was no longer a puppy, so he would definitely be able to listen. Even though she didn't expect him to be able to climb so high, he realized that he wasn't that young. He's full of power. If action is needed, he won't stand still. However, just listening is an embarrassing act. Ning asked the little one if he remembered the python they had defeated with his little brother. He too had almost reached the core formation stage. She hadn't expected the younger one to progress so quickly. It wouldn't be long before he would surpass her. And she said that part was well written in the book. Ning told brother He that he shouldn't. She can handle the demons herself. He should go back to the heavenly realm. Already helped him twice. Let her think it's his gratitude. Ning didn't want things to go any further, so she decided to leave. But Hei told her that even though he was her youngest, he was still a man. Ning asked him, so what of it? Ning couldn't break free from Hei's strong arms. There was some unusual scent coming from him, and she knew it was proof of his feelings. And as soon as he touched her, she was trapped. Hei was listening to all this and already wanted to stop her, and she doesn't have to read this. Ning picked it up and said that it was pretty cold today, and wondered what was going on in the character's head anyway. This is completely unlike her. Hei said that since she already knows everything, then let her stop reading. Ning didn't stop and said that it embarrassed her so much. But the master told her to read. Ning was completely entranced by the book and didn't stop. Hei was already starting to panic and asked her why she didn't stop, and then he took off her outer garment, and Ning became even more beautiful in the moonlight. She suddenly told him not to be so cocky. He asked his sister at this moment, why on earth is she refusing his company? She knows he won't leave her alone, but Ning replied that this was her assignment, and she must fulfill it herself. Then why was she interfering with his? Ning replied that she was just helping their siblings. He suggested to her that they shouldn't think about anything else right now, but better yet, Ning suddenly couldn't help herself and closed the book. Ning said that the writing was really good, and suddenly she felt very hot, and went to bed with the baby. He thought at this moment, could he fall asleep in this situation? But that would definitely not happen. Hei opened his eyes and saw Ning sleeping in front of him. Min saw that he was awake and told him not to worry. He sighed and said it was as if a mountain had been lifted off his shoulders. He slowly stood up and felt that his arm was numb. Min started to smile and asked the owner what he said his hand was numb. Hei became hurt and told her not to touch it. Hei said they need to get out of here quickly. Min walked over to Ning and told her that she wouldn't wake up until sunrise. She cast one small spell on her. There was no need for haste. Hei got up from the bed and suddenly Min closed her eyes and said he had no clothes on. And it wasn't even surprising that the heir of the Demon Wave clan had so much energy. He asked, hadn't she seen enough yet? Min replied that of course not. His body is a real treasure. Hei said they should leave while it's dark and everyone is asleep. Min asked the Lord if he wasn't worried that Ning would find the curtain missing in the morning. He began to slowly move around and look around so that no one would see him like this. Better that than running around the cult naked. If someone sees it now, they'll be on the front page of the Mythical Chronicles tomorrow. Min said the headline would be that a naked man dressed as a woman is a decline in morals or a lack of manners. Hei replied that she was just unbearable and tell her to stop saying that. He ran from corner to corner saying that everything was clear and there was not a soul around. Hei went to his room and snuggled up and said that he had to admit that it was really chilly outside. Min lay down next to him too and said it would be even warmer that way. And maybe he would let her warm his bed. Hei hugged her tightly and said she was so warm. Can she turn into a fox? She is so fluffy. Min said that it will be fulfilled now and immediately turned into a fox, and he immediately said softly. Hei nudged her a little and said, wondering even, why didn't she smell like a fox? Min immediately turned back into a human and got angry. She wouldn't let him next to sleep and threw him off the bed with both feet. Min said she was a spirit beast from the Fox clan, not some ordinary animal. And no more warm beds for him. He sat down to meditate in the afternoon and said that yesterday he had broken through to a new stage. It was time to realize what had changed. As he entered his inner soul, he felt the wind rippling the grass. A ripple running through the water. The stage of soul budding is different from the previous two. It is more like a deep and harmonious connection with nature and the universe. Afterward, he went outside and said that a new day and new possibilities had arrived. Suddenly, he saw Li Jin and asked her what she was doing on Lushui Peak. He walked over and greeted her. Li Jin told her brother that he was finally awake. Qing also said that she was glad he came. She was just about to do a joint interview with him. He replied to his sister that what she wrote in that issue of Mythic Chronicles was simply outrageous. She has no shame or conscience, and she's not going to write any more fiction. Qing said that true stories don't sell out that well. The combination of fact and fiction is exactly what readers want. Besides, it's not easy to sell magazines nowadays. Suddenly, he said that he felt like Sisterly wanted to discuss something extremely important with him. Could they reschedule the interview for another time? Qing replied that it was fine and wouldn't bother them. Hei told Nurse Lee that he thought she was looking for him. Was something wrong? But suddenly he saw Sister Qing hiding around the corner and shouted to her. Qing replied that she understood and was on her way out. And it occurred to her, a new theme for the release, a love triangle. She's even designed the cover already. This issue is sure to break all sales records. And she said goodbye one more time. He asked Jean where they were at. The girl replied that it was nothing much. After he saved her, she sent a message to her father. So he invites him to dinner to thank him in person. And if he agrees, she will submit a request for 2 passes so they can leave the mountain. He was surprised and asked, is that really allowed? Jean replied that her family was quite closely related to the sect, so they had certain privileges. He thought for a moment and decided that at the same time, he could go to the He clan and finally learn more about transformation, and it will help him a lot. So it's best to address this issue before the third assignment. Jean told the guy that if he thought it was too much of a hassle, he might not agree. Her father likes to make decisions for others. He said that he would go. Jean, hearing this answer, got very excited and said that he had then decided everything and immediately saw them as they hugged. But she immediately turned around so they wouldn't see her. Min tells the gentleman that Ning just looked at them and left abruptly. And she thinks Ning wanted to talk to him, which then something upset her a lot. Hey imagined her getting upset and got scared. He told Nurse Lee that he had to meet someone else, so he would have to leave her. Jean replied that of course, no problem. Besides, she had things to do too. He said goodbye and said they would see each other soon. Min said right afterward that she went in that direction and showed her hands in which direction. Ning went into the forest, and unable to contain her anger, she walked like a hurricane between the trees and chopped them with her sword. Hei watched her behind the tree and was surprised. Min told him that her heart was restless. Let him look at her hands. They are trembling. Ning is definitely upset. Hei said he memorized her movements. Min asked the master. Hei asked, why is that? Just thought it was worth learning some new techniques. It's useful to have many skills. Min said to go and ask her if she was looking for him. She's honing her sword skills, and he's busy studying martial arts instead of approaching her. If he's not sick, Hei replied that he was just trying to learn as much as he could so that he could escape quickly if necessary. She knows how much he despises demons and monsters of all kinds, and he only doesn't want to die by her hand. Suddenly, Ning noticed something and asked. Ning asked him what was he doing here? The guy replied that he just saw his sister come to the door of the Lushui Peak dormitory, but then suddenly disappeared. And it seemed to him that she was looking for him, so he followed her. Ning asked who said she was looking for him. He told Ning that Li Jin had just come to ask him about going down the mountain. He had saved her life on the previous mission, so her father had decided to thank him. Suddenly, Ning smelled an odor, and she wondered why he smelled like her perfume. Ning asked him if he had come to her chambers last night. Hei just froze at that moment and didn't know what to say to her. He realized at this moment that her feelings were too sharp. Ning asked him again, did he come or not? He replied that of course not. How would he accidentally walk into her chambers? He realized that this was a crappy case. Could it be that he still smelled of her perfume? Ning slowly approached him and told him not to move. She suddenly looked at his clothes and noticed something. Suddenly, Min appeared and said that it was her fault. And don't let Madam Ning misunderstand. And she knows exactly how she feels about demons, so she will no longer use the same spirits as her. Hei also said she wouldn't. Min suddenly wiped away her sweat because of her similar perfume, and he was clearly hesitant to answer. Ning felt. Was it really just her imagination? He was at this moment waiting for her to stop looking at him like that. Ning said that she was looking for him to find out when he planned to take the third assignment, and the master had told her to rest, which was why she wanted to take the younger students with her, and he will do it right after he comes back from Li Jinshan's family. He only goes on one mission with her, and already they are so close. Hei replied that it wasn't that, it was just that she had invited him, and it was pretty hard to refuse something like that. Besides, his main target is the Li family's blacksmithing skills. He asked Ning, she wouldn't mind if he took such a chance, right? Ning blushed heavily at this moment, and said that he was pure shamelessness. Why be so blunt? He doesn't have a very good sword, and the difficulty of the upcoming tasks will only increase. That's why he needs a more reliable weapon to protect himself. Ning told him that she was done and said everything she wanted to say, and so he could be free to go. Hei noticed that her mood changed very quickly, but he didn't leave right away. Ning was surprised and asked him why he was still here. Suddenly, she raised her sword and said that if he wouldn't leave, then let him spar with her. He replied that he agreed. Ning said that he had been watching her for a while, and given his talent and learning speed, he should have figured it out by now. Hei replied that although his head understood, but his hands, that was a completely different matter. And then he realized that she knew he was following her. Ning held out her sword to him and told him to take her sword. He was surprised and asked with wonder, her sword? Surely he's allowed to have it? Hadn't he taken it before? Hei asked, would he really train without a weapon? Ning found a branch under her feet and replied that it would be enough for her as well. He realized that right now his cultivation was almost at the same level as hers, and he hoped that he wouldn't lose too quickly. Otherwise, he would be too embarrassed if she won using just a branch. Min told the Lord that he'd better hide his aura, and you don't want to leave too much evidence by which someone can link him and the baby. He replied to her that was right. Didn't he buy a concealment talisman from the demon market? It's about time to use it. Ning looked at them and wondered what they were talking about. He looked at her and saw her angry and displeased look. Min told Ning that she only meant to tell him to put his best foot forward. And since she's not needed here anymore, she'll be on her way. Min told him that from now on, he should be extremely cautious and conceal his aura. Breaking through too quickly might attract unnecessary attention. He turned to his older sister and asked if she could give him instructions. Ning immediately pounced on him with her attack. But he wasn't easy either. He had wielded her sword before and immediately threw an attack in response. Ning was telling him to focus and not to lose concentration. She unleashed a flurry of attacks. He wasn't left out either, and he too decided to show off a bit and unleashed one strong attack. Ning, seeing this attack in front of her, was surprised, but she immediately dodged it to avoid being hit. Ning told him that he was indeed a genius. He let go of the sword and thanked her for such a valuable lesson. Ning said that within a few days, her master would transfer him from the outer Lushui Peak to Yin Peak. He was surprised and asked, what? He wondered if she had decided to transfer him to Yin Peak, and how should he understand it? He wanted to escape after all. How was this even possible? There was no such thing in the game. Ning asked him, what's the matter? Is it that he doesn't want to? He replied that no, it's definitely not that. Besides, he has a water spiritual root. Is he allowed to go to the Yang Peak where the fire element is predominant? Ning replied that the master would transform his spiritual root, so he had nothing to worry about. From now on, he would train hard with her. He definitely has a great future ahead of him, and a cultivation genius like him is just what the Yin Peak needs.